is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show. This.
So here's the putting green. See? There you go. Got two flags. One is over there where Cutter's Edge Pro. It's not coming out now. Come on. Come on, wind. Give me a little wind. No, unfortunately. But there you go. And this one says Big O here. There you go. So there's my putting green. It's about, I would say about 25 feet, something like that. I get to practice, have a little fun. See? And then, of course, we got, you know, the bunkers. Gotta have the bunkers, man. Got all kinds of bunkers there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a taste of our backyard. There's Maiden right there. Maiden. Bono, how you doing, Bono? Bono. Bono. He's a Carolina dog, by the way. These dogs are amazing. Their temperaments are awesome. But there is the Sylvester palm, which is just beautiful. All right, call my guys, Will and Mike at Cutter's Edge Pro. They will take care of you. Dogs are not included, okay? Can't include the dogs. Those are mine. But the exceptional work, oh, baby. Oh, baby, yes. Make your home an oasis. CuttersEdgePro.com. Go to their Instagram page, by the way, so you can see a lot of the before and after work that they do. And it is exceptional, baby. This thing's been on here for about 9 months. No grass growing through it or anything like that. Right, Bono? Huh? Bono!
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's CanesWear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CFs, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at CanesWear.com or InnerMiamiWear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. CanesWear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Hialeah Park Casino is turning 10, and we're bringing you an anniversary bash like never before. See a million, win a million. Join us every Saturday in August, where 10 lucky customers will have a chance to take home $1 million. Snap a selfie with $1 million in cash, post it on social media, and get ready to win even more fantastic prizes. Come to Hialeah Park Casino's 10th anniversary celebration and make history with us. When you see a million, win a million.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Slomin Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Slomin Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Slomin Shield.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Walton Rheaume is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Walton Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Walton Rheaume can help. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, boys and girls. Ready to rock and roll on a beautiful Wednesday, day before we take off to Canton, Ohio. Tomorrow, by the way, we will have a short program, but it'll be earlier in the morning. I'm going to get up probably get on the air around 8 o'clock in the morning. Probably do a short show, and then we fly out in the afternoon. So we are headed out to Canton to cover Zach Thomas getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So looking forward to that. We got a loaded show for you, of course, as we always do. Ira Winderman is going to join us at 10:30, so we'll have a little fun with Ira at 10:30. And at 11, we'll have Matt Verderram. So we'll talk, we'll go around the NFL. At 11:30, Joe Shad will be joining us. So we'll have a little fun with Joe. Also, we'll get his thoughts on what's going on in camp and get his assessment on it all. So we'll have a little fun there. So loaded program for you. And we got some stuff to talk about. Marlins make a couple of trades, kind of I don't know, what would you label them? Kind of bargain basement trades type, not really like a frontline star or anything. Josh Bell and Jake Hamburger and Ryan Weathers and stuff. And so, trying to make a little push, but I don't know if they did enough to make a push, to be quite honest. So, it's, I know they get to control one of the guys through 28, but they gave up their fourth best prospect in that trade for Jake Berger. And I know they control him through 28, but boy, that's, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of screwy. So we'll see what we got going on there. Anyway, a couple things, housekeeping. First of all, again, we fly out tomorrow to Canton. So starting on Friday, we'll be broadcasting live from Canton Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We'll have shows all throughout the weekend. Monday might be a little tricky because it'll probably be like some kind of an afternoon show because Sean and I travel early in the morning, if I'm correct, I think, on Monday. So when we get back, then maybe I'll do something after that. But we'll do this will be a show. It'll go all the way throughout the weekend because we'll have material. Sean and I will have material all throughout. When Zach gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, obviously we'll be there. We'll film that, and I'm sure you'll get to see the speech too. But Sean and I will cover the event, and maybe we'll get to talk to some of the people there, get some interviews, get some comments from them about Zach before, all of that kind of stuff. So we'll actually do some work for you and put together some stuff. On Sunday, Zach Thomas will be joining us on the show. So we will get Zach on Sunday. When we post it, I don't know, but make sure you always have the notification bell. Okay, hit the notification bell on our platform here, because whenever we go live, Sean, goes live with wrestling. Obviously, Frankie Fresco and Sean are doing their wrestling show every single week. You want to know when it drops? Hit the notification bell. That way you get the heads up. Hey, it started. Hey, our morning show started. Hey, we are dropping, an interview. Sean updated something, some kind of a rant or something that I did. So anything that happens on the platform, the notification bell gives you the notification. That's kind of the idea. So hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when the Zach Thomas interview drops on Sunday at whatever point it drops, and you can then check it out. Friday, for those of you going to Canton, Friday, 2 p.m., Shula's Bust, Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. We are gathering together. We are going to film it, put it on social media so everybody can see, and I'm sure it'll go viral and everybody will have some fun with it. So we want to get as many Dolphins fans to get down to Canton, well, you're going to be in Canton, but get to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Friday, 2 p.m. We'll gather around Shula's Bust. We'll film it. We'll sing the Dolphin fight song, and then we'll, go for it and post it on social media. And maybe it's something we can all use throughout the year as we make our way to Vegas for the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm feeling Super Bowl. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling Super Bowl. That's all I can tell you. Can't tell you anything more than that. I'm just feeling the Super Bowl. Brian Walters is in the house. He says, good morning, Big O and Sean and everyone. I see the Marlins made some moves. They got younger with the moves because all three players are younger than the three Marlins. Yeah. But
how much better are they? You know, actually, what's going to help is getting Jazz back. If he can actually stay in the damn lineup, that would be a real lift. Avisail Garcia, whatever, bro. You know, it is what it is. Jamie says, out in Mexico, life is so much better with football in it. Enjoy it. Remember to smash the like button, people. Fins up. Yes, please. Smash the hell out of the like button. Brooklyn Rob is in the house. My Acorn buddy. Steven Gonzalez is in. Let's see. Great win by the Marlins last night, huh? Yeah, I know. They make the move for David Robertson, and he blows the save last night. God. Holy crap. And by the way, Nick Castellanos, isn't that the guy that Jeter wanted to give him the big contract, right? It's Nick. If I'm correct, Sean, do you remember? Wasn't it Nick Castellanos? I want to say that's the guy, right? Yes. Oh, you're what the hell is that? It was a thumbs down, but the camera was upside down, and then he turned it right side up, and guess what? Like Cam Cameron. Come on, let's turn that right side up. And he did. He pulled a Cam Cameron today. So, yeah. What else do we have here? Good morning, Big O and Sean. Thank you for what you guys do. Living in North Carolina, it gets me through the days. Been listening since the QAM days. Thank you very much, Les Jam. Very nice of you. Cap for life, peace for Lebo. Yes, we talked about that yesterday. Terrible loss for the Levitard family. 50 years old, man. Still got life left, man. Unfair. Ryan AP, Bromar Smelly, Steve Chapman, Dude 67, Anthony Campos. Who are the top 3 Marlins hitters of all time? Going to Flanagan's tonight. Help me with a decision. Should I do ribs or wings today? It's with Joe's Meal deal. Well, if you're going to Flanagan's, ribs. Ribs, dude. Their ribs are awesome. Okay? So I love eating their ribs. When I go there, I like the ribs. I like the conch chowder. Right? It's not conch chowder, is it? Right? Is it conch chowder? The soup? No, seafood gumbo. That's it. Seafood gumbo. That's what it's called. I know they have the New England clam chowder, and I think they may have French onion sometimes and all that. My wife loves French onion, but the seafood gumbo at Flanagan's is really, really good. I also love having their dolphin sandwich too. So that's the other one that I get there. And of course their curly fries. Those things are notorious. Whew, so good. I'm hungry again. Mike Honcho, Alex Palenzuela, Roderick Freeman. What a way to open the football season in Cannes at the beginning and in Las Vegas with the Dolphins watching 2 in the Super Bowl. Hey, you know, Roderick? How about that, Sean? Did you ever think about that? We're going to open in Canton with Zach, and we're going to close with 2 and a title in Vegas. This is going to be one hell of a year, bro. Thank you, Roderick. Makes me feel really good on a Wednesday. Gus 1388. Strafasi says, Big O, I'm ready to give up on Austin Jackson. He looks terrible. I would give a chance for Win or Hunt. I think eventually it's going to happen. You know what I mean? If it continues at this pace, he has not looked good. He didn't have a good day yesterday, I don't believe. So, you know, he may have won one battle all day or some shit. Not good. Now, they've been practicing Lamb at left. So do you move him over to right, or do you make Win your right? But Win has all the flexibility of being able to play the 2 tackle spots and a guard spot. So do you keep Win as your flex guy, move Kendall Lamb over to right tackle, and then Austin Jackson, you know, if you're going to keep him around, then keep him around as to be another floater for tackle and guard, you know, something like that as a backup. But at this pace, from what I'm seeing so far, and it's still early, in fact, I saw more progress at this point last year from Austin Jackson than I did right now.
So anyway, let's see what else. Think Dodgers Blue is in there. Brian Landis, Miami Breaker 305. Thank you, Alexis, helping me out on the Jeter thing too. Dude 67 agrees with Flanagan's ribs. They are. The Flanagan's ribs are awesome. They melt off the bone, baby back. You know how they do that in the commercial? It's 1,000%, correct. Let's see. Oh, the 3 top hitters. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't. What was it? What was the question again? Morning. Who are the top 3 Marlins hitters of all time? Now wait a minute. See, here's the thing. Okay, are you saying hitters or power hitters? Like, see, he put Sheffield, Pudge, and Conine. Okay, only problem is, like, we have better hitters than all those guys. So are we talking power guys or are we talking hitters? Like, if we're going hitters, then Moises Alou has to be one of them. Only problem is it was only a year. Now, wait a minute. With all the Marlins, there aren't a lot of them that stayed here for a long time. But Edgar Renteria was really good for a while. You know what I'm saying? So we, what's it called? Juan Pierre. I mean, Jesus Christ, that guy got on base. So are we talking hitter or are we talking power hitters? Because then if we're talking power hitters, then, Sheffield is going to be in there. Then I'm going to – Conine could be in the hitters category because he was always a good hitter, and it didn't matter if you were an expansion team or a championship team. Conine was always productive throughout. It's a really difficult because Castillo was also a terrific hitter. He'd get on base a lot. I don't know about a high average for Castillo, but he'd get on base. Trying to think of guys that were like money players. Council for a short time was a pretty good hitter for them. Hanley Ramirez, when he wasn't lazy chasing fly balls out there in outfield or infield or whatever the hell, and being lazy. Let's see. Who else? Trying to think of some of the guys that were like money players as hitters. Power hitters, it's a little easier for us to figure out the guys that were hitting for power. Oh, by the way, Yelich. Shit, how can I forget Yelich? And he got even better after he left. That would have been good too. Derek Lee's a good one. Mike Lowell's a good one. I mentioned Castillo. It all depends on how you want to look at it. Are we looking at the power or are we looking at hitters? So it all, if you tell me the 3 power guys or the 3 hitters, and that's, 2 different categories. The worst part about being a Marlins fan is that we don't have enough players that stayed here for a long time. Like, I got to put Alou in that category, but he was only here for 1 year. And it sucks that you have to put someone. Now, he was a great player, and I wish he could have been here for several years, even though he was a jackass. You know what I'm saying? But that's the problem with all of this, that when you have guys that none of our guys stick around for a long time. So it's not like when you're a Dolphins fan, you get to see players for a long time. You might see them for 6, 7, 10, 12, 14 years. It's a possibility. Heat player. You'll see them for 5, 10, 15 years. But Marlins players never stick around. We'll be lucky to keep one for 4, 5, 6 years. And then, on that contract, after arbitration ends and all that, it gets all fuzzy and we lose them because we can't control them anymore. And then the money and we used to have the bastard that just would backload all the contracts. So they wouldn't get a lot of money up front, but then on the back end, when those salaries are going to go skyrocket, you knew we were going to lose the player. And that's the problem with all of that we don't have longevity with any of our Marlins. It just sucks, dude. It gives you it's hard to measure things. And Luis Gonzalez. Mike Piazza was here for like 3 days or something. So he doesn't even count for hitter, power hitter. He doesn't count for shit. He doesn't. I don't even count. I don't even count Mike Piazza as a Marlin. Put it that way. That was such a joke. It really was. Am I excited for the Hall of Fame? Josh, man, super excited. I was there in 2005 for Danny, and I bought this there, and I'm hoping I can find this also for Zach and purchase that one and have it here in the studios and the redone studios that I'm working on. I'm working on the shelving and stuff that I got to redo everything. I'm going to put the camera back, have a wider angle, have a second camera to have like close-up talk crap, things like that. So kind of change it up a little bit for you guys. And include, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. Tommy and Hialeah, right? Tommy brought me a Dolphins helmet. No, I don't have it here. I have it downstairs, the Dolphins helmet. But and I haven't been able to put it up because I have no space, right? And it's it's limited. And then he brought me now a Chuck Carr, which again, Tommy, thank you so much. He brought me a Chucky Carr bobblehead that the Marlins were giving out. He got an extra one and brought it to me, which is awesome. So I'm going to put it on display. By the way, I got the Bo Jackson bobblehead that they gave out in Kansas City. All right. That's pretty cool. So it's him running on the wall. And so all those kind of things, I want to put them on display behind me. But, with this camera angle, it's just so tight, And so we gotta change it up. And we've had the same look for a while. So, it's kind of time to change things up a little bit and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, got to do that. Kevin Millar, deer piss and all. Very good, Cap for Life. For those of you that don't know the story, Kevin Millar used to pour deer piss on his hands and the bat and, whatever, grip and all that crap, whatever. So it worked for him. I don't know what to tell you. Deer piss and all. It worked. Dan Ugla, yeah, power, but not a hit, never a hitter. That Dan Ugla and hitter have never met. They don't know what that's like. It's Dan Ugla sounds a lot like Jake Berger. All or nothing. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up because when you read about Jake Berger, that's exactly the guy you're going to think of. I didn't think of it at the moment, but now that you mentioned Dan Ugla, I'm like, holy shit, what I just read about Jake Berger today is exactly. Did you read up on Jake Berger, Sean? He's like a 215 hitter. He's like one of the top strikeout guys, but he also can hit 25 home runs. So what does that sound like? Dan freaking Ugla. Oh, man. Zach Thomas deserves this as much as any Dolphin. Amen. Amen. I'm really, 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 really happy for Zach. I was terrified he was not going to make it. And we're going to talk about that with him because nobody really talked about that with him in the interviews. I'm going to talk to him about that because it's something that he had to have been concerned. And, one of the things that it's just who we are in our society, right? And you see somebody short, and when they accomplish something great, you look at them as an overachiever, and you don't look at them as being great. And they did that to Sam Mills, and they do that to Zach Thomas, and they do it to any small player that overcomes adversity, and they become a great player. But it takes them a while to admit it. You know what I mean? It's like the really fat person. Okay. Now let's just be honest now.
Sometimes when you're really big, you're not going to get taken seriously. And ask anybody that's really big. It's harder for them to be taken seriously because people are already disrespecting you because of your looks. And so it's much harder for somebody who's extremely overweight to win people over. And then it takes them a while to get that credit that they deserve. And it's, image is something that we penalize people for. You're walking down the street. Here it goes. You ready? Big black dude, right? You're intimidated. You're walking down the street, big biker dude, tats all over, intimidation. It's just a thing in life that it's not right because you're judging every book by a cover, but we generalize these people all the goddamn time. And we penalize them because of whatever perceptions have been put into our brains since we were young. And it's kind of how we're programmed. And so then we penalize the woman for not being able to do manly things, whatever you want to call it, lead a corporation, whatever it is, be president, this, that, until she has to go to these extremes because that's what we've done to women. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we do to short people all the damn time until Spud Webb starts dunking and starts doing stuff that you've never seen. And then we finally go, well, hey, you know what? That guy's a pretty goddamn good player, bro. That guy can play. Stop with the shortness stuff. The guy can play, and it's just perception. It's something that's sad in our society, but a lot of us are programmed one way or another to react to people by their looks. You know what I'm saying? And it's because you have this image, just like the big person. You have the image that you're intimidated, right? And it's just wrong, right? The big dude could be the nicest guy in the world. And lots of people have met him. And you met the guy that he looks intimidating. He's got a nose ring. He's got tats all over. He's got long hair. He's got these muscles. He's getting off a bike, whatever it is. And you're intimidated as hell. And then you meet the guy and he's like a normal person, but you already have a misconception. Oh my God, this big dude. Holy crap. This guy may kick my ass. He's just coming to get coffee, bro. It's funny. It's something that we do, and we do it to short people all the time. Short people have to do so much extra to then prove to us that they are, because we're not used to watching the short person do what the big, powerful person does. It sucks, but these are the things that go on in our minds. And I was afraid that for Zach, that was going to be the problem, that they weren't going to give him the love that he deserves because they think it was freakish. It was lucky that he played that way, or that, whatever. They'll credit the other people around him that lifted him or whatever. They find ways to take take the credit away from them when actually you're supposed to give them more credit, because they had to overcome more, right? The woman has to overcome more to get to the same spot that the man is at. The short athlete, right, has to overcome more than the bigger athlete to get to where they're at. The person that doesn't have the right look and may look overweight and not look in right, or tats or hair or whatever, that person has to work a little harder to kind of win people over, because the misconception has already been placed in their brains. And so now you've got to unprogram that misconception. Oh, no, that biker dude is actually pretty cool. And it's sad.
So I'm glad he got in, man. I was really nervous that he was going to be left out, just out. Like he'd become that guy that's the borderline guy, and as time goes on, as as the memory of your play distance itself from reality, the generations that are coming after are not going to respect you because they didn't watch you. They don't really know. You know what I'm saying? That's like what I told you with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill can't tell me whether it was Joe Namath that he meant or Roger Staubach. That can't be his guy. You didn't see them. Nobody has as their favorite players somebody they never watched. That doesn't make any sense. All of our heroes, we watch them. That's how they become our heroes. It's those moments that we capture, the memories, you know what I mean? And that's where Mike Schmidt and Dr. J and Sugar Ray Leonard, that's what I grew up with, dude. Those are my people. You know what I'm saying? Walter Payton, Dan Marino. Those are my people. Those are my heroes. Why? Because I grew up with them. Those are the moments that I grew up with that I loved. And that's what made me love baseball. That's what made me love boxing. That's what made me love football. That's what made me love the Dolphins. That's how your heroes are developed, people that you see. Anyway, so Zach, he had to get in. 10 years from now, younger writers aren't going to respect him. They're not going to give him the due that he deserves. And it becomes harder and harder to get in. Went to camp, and all I got to say is Zach Sealer is huge, bro. Defense is ready, says Cap for Life. They are. They'll be fine. I'm not worried about the defense at all. Somebody must have seen Dan as gullible, LOL. You know what will make you hit better? Deer urine. That's it, baby. The opponent will feel like a deer in the headlights. Exactly, Karoon. Red says Mike Schmidt was also his favorite player, along with Ralph Garr. I was a Schmitty guy, bro. I didn't have baseball down here. So, and everybody down here as a kid, kids down here grew up as Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Reds, and Orioles, because we had the Orioles here. Those, like, pretty much most of your friends, those were the 5 teams that they followed. And I was like, no way, I'm not doing that. So I went Phillies. I was a Mike Schmidt guy. So that's who I started following in the 70s when I was a child. And that's who became my guy, number 20. And then we finally got the Marlins. The story from Peyton Manning proves ZT should live forever in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a shame. But that's how it goes. We mistreat the short athlete that way. We don't respect them. Even while they're doing great things in front of us, we don't respect them. We don't give them enough of the due that they deserve. It's a twisted thing, man. It really is. All right, let's do it, baby. Ira Winderman is ready to go. Let's talk a little basketball. We got a stalemate going on between the Blazers and the Heat. When will it end? Ira Winderman is next.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
There he is. Ira, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing good, just like everyone else, in a waiting game, but also appreciative while they're in a waiting game that the Heat's not going to have their hand forced by an absolutely desperate trade partner. So I respect the waiting game. Big O, you and I speak on Accurate Pembroke Pines reports every week. You're not playing another game that matters until the end of October. Don't let someone else force your hand. Don't get bluffed into giving up a single penny more than you have to.
You're not negotiating against anybody. You're negotiating against yourself, so there's no reason for it. Now, first of all, let's get to the letter from the NBA to the league and to the Heat.
I got to tell you something. I found that to be all hot air. To me, the way I looked at it, this is how I interpreted all of this. Here's Portland whining and complaining. They've put themselves in this position. They had 11 years with this guy, and now this guy has control over where he wants to go, and they're pissed about that. They want to have their cake and eat it too damn bad. But anyway, they go complaining that they got no other offers and only the Heat. And so now the league puts that out there. And the league, basically what they did with that letter is, well, we covered our ass. We told them that you can't say that. And by the way, it's already been said so the message has been sent out. Everybody knows it already. Nobody's acquiring a guy for $300 million that doesn't want to be there because it's $216 plus taxes when it's all said and done. So it could be $300 million that you're paying the damn guy overall. So to me, I just found it like this was window dressing by the league to cover its ass and say, hey, we did what we could do, because the league knows in the end they can't control any of this. You really cannot control any of this. You're not going to manipulate it. This is not one of those trades that you can reverse because it was done illegally or anything like that. This is being done right in front of you as it is. So it is what it is. To me, it was the league covering itself, then telling Portland, hey, we warned everybody. Now it's up to you. Go ahead. It's your bed. Lie in it.
Yeah, you know what? I think more than anything, it's a whiny front office person who's I'm not getting what I want. So the league comes out and says something. Someone went to the principal. Someone sort of snitches got out there. And so the league said, look, you created this mess. You told this guy you were going to trade him. So you went back on your word. You said before the draft you were going to trade your pick and get a better player for him for a win-now team. You've done nothing what you said. What do you want us to do? Why wouldn't this guy force his hand and want his way out there? Damian Lillard has never said anything publicly. And Big O, you know how this is. The person himself never gets involved. He lets someone talk for him. Right. He stayed clean on this. He hasn't given the middle finger to Portland or Portland fans. He stayed back. The agent does what any agent should do negotiating a contract. You want to make your client happy, or honestly, Big O, you won't be his agent much longer. So the agent went out and set the groundwork. But you had a very good point there when you talked about the salary and the terms. Damian Lillard's 33, is a lead ball-intensive point guard who is owed $200 million almost, and with the tax, actually, I think it's over $300 million for most of these teams, maybe repeater tax teams. So when you do the math and you say teams that need an elite point guard, you're cutting yourself in half. There's a lot of very good point guards. So let's say you're down to 15. Teams that need a point guard and are in prime contention, you cut yourself by at least a third. You're down to 10 teams. Team that blah, 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 and can also afford or are willing to take down this contract. You're maybe down to 3 teams. Teams that are willing to go as far as the Miami Heat, even with their worst offer, you're down to 1 team. So here's the deal, and I spoke to you last week on our Acura Pembroke Pines report about this. Why should the Heat give 3 first-round picks when they can only give 2? Why should the Heat let Portland decide between Jovic and Jaime Jaquez who should get the player? Why shouldn't the Heat decide that? Why should the Heat give up 3 pick swaps instead of 2 pick swaps? Now, the Blazers have every right to hold on to the player. They have every right to pollute their future of Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons and saying, hey, this guy who has never played a game in his entire NBA career off the bench, not in the regular season, not in the playoffs, is going to start. So one of you guys who think you should be a starter, who we told you after the draft we're building for the future, we're going to have to retard your growth and set it back. Yes, the difference is that Portland might get a better offer around the trade deadline. But Portland's also putting aside 3, 4, 5 months of growth of their next level of a team and setting it back. Joe Cronin's in a bad spot, and the best way to do this is you move on and you reset your team. And instead of whining to the commissioner, you let your fan base know, hey, we love Dame, but he's 33, he has $200 million due him. There's only so much of a market out there, and we're going to do right by our player and not ship him to a contender who's not necessarily where he wants to play, like in Memphis. Not that he would with John Morant or someone like that. So you know what? I don't mind the waiting game at all. I mind as far as I hate leaving the house. I've already written a Damian Lillard traded to Miami story. In the second paragraph, it says, in exchange for Damian Lillard, the Heat traded XX, XXX, and XXX. I told my bosses, please don't publish that until I tell you who the players are. But if you're asking me today, early August, what I think, the deal's going to get done. You know what I don't know, Big O? I don't know when. I don't care when. The Heat start training camp the first week in October. If it's done by then, great. If it's not like a proven veteran can't immediately fit his way in. When you're a great player, you can arrive midseason, like a Kevin Durant or someone, or at the start of training camp and be fine. So let's all exhale. Let's all head out on vacation to the Amalfi Coast like Pat Riley. We'll be fine.
Well, training camp starts in October, not mid-September. Like,
it's actually a little later this year. It's October 2nd and 3rd, our media day. You know, based on how the calendar breaks, they push it back a little. The regular season doesn't start until late October.
My timeline has changed. I said late August, early September for this to happen. So then this is going to happen mid-September because here's the thing. They don't want the mess, obviously, of him showing up at camp, and then that becomes a whole disaster. And you could have a Van Gundy Howard situation with your press conferences. You don't want that. Number two, you got a lot of money owed to that guy. If he goes to camp and blows out a knee and he's gone for the year, so is your trade. Because all of a sudden, Pat Riley, the next time you knock on his door, he's going to say, hey, you know what? I'll give you a first rounder for him. That's it. Thanks for calling. Appreciate you. See you later. And so you better also watch out because you already said you're moving forward. You already have a team that has a deal on the table. Like you just said also, there aren't a lot of teams that are going to take $300 million on. There aren't a lot of teams that really should take that contract on because you only take that contract on if you're a Damian Lillard away from a title. If you're not a Damian Lillard away from a title, it's like the Dolphins signing Ndamukong Suh. What are you doing, dumbass? You're not even close to a title, and you're spending that ridiculous money. So to me, you're the Portland Trailblazers. You're playing with fire too, because if he gets injured in training camp, all deals are done, and you lost every bit of leverage you ever had.
I agree with that. And I think like the best other team who the Heat might be competing against, I can make a case for the New York Knicks. But Big O, you saw Jalen Brunson in that playoff series against the Heat. He's really good. He's really young. And he's half the price of Damian Lillard. And he plays the exact same position. You can say all you want. Greatness finds a way to mesh and meld together. That's all well and good. But Jalen Brunson, no offense. Well, you know what? Offense, I don't care. No offense to Julius Randle. Jalen Brunson's the best New York Knicks player. And when you have your best player in a position, you don't add someone else in that position as well, which I think knocks them out of it, even with all the Stephen A's ranting. And yes, the Knicks have more draft capital to offer than the Heat. They have a player like R.J. Barrett to offer instead of a Tyler Hero. They can put the package together. But that would be so Knicks to constantly churn. Every team desperately tries to find their new main guy. The Heat found it in 2019 with Jimmy Butler. Every Heat move since then has been, as you mentioned, to find that alpha, to find someone to augment Jimmy Butler. So they know what they want to do. The Knicks finally got something right. They got Jalen Brunson. Mark Cuban, he blew that by not giving him the contract he wanted. If you're the Knicks and you have your franchise centerpiece, you work to supplement that centerpiece, not to push him aside and replace him. So again, you know, everyone out there on the chat, if you want, call Big O later, let him know. But I just don't see another team out there where if I'm the Heat and I'm doing my due diligence of saying, you know what, Andy, you know what, Pat, you know what, Mickey, you know what, Nick, these guys could make a deal. It would make sense. Sacramento, again, has De'Aaron Fox is a young team coming on. They're not doing that. It's so limited, I'm not bidding against myself. That would be a fool's errand. As a matter of fact, Big O, you and I speak about this regularly, about the package they put together for Shaq. And you and I, after 2 decades, eventually came around to adding Caron Butler was the right move. I got to tell you something, Big O. If the Heat do offer 3 first-round picks, and they do send out Caleb Martin or Jaime Jaquez Jr., I like him more than Jovic, I might actually get back on here in our Acura Pembroke Pines report and tell you, I think there's a chance the Heat gave up too much. I think the Heat could possibly, unlike in the Shaq deal, in this deal, give up too much. So I will be curious to see how far the Heat are willing to go. I love great players. You give me Bam, you give me Jimmy, you give me Lillard. I'm telling you, if you're not the best team in the East, you're right up there with the Bucks and Celtics. but I also think there should be a limit in this one because you're talking 33 with $200 million nearly left on his deal.
And by the way, I agree with you on Jaquez. I want Jaquez over Jovic
So
for two reasons. One, I think his game is more well-rounded than Jovic, and two, he's mature. Miami is ready to win now.
Spot on.
I need as much maturity as possible. I don't have time to, go through the growing pains of Jovic, whereas Jaquez just seems to me like a more pro-ready player at this point in time, and I think that that's what Miami needs. And I see a lot of craftiness in his game, and I think that that's very complementary to what you have with your shooters on this team and with Jimmy Butler, because I can see him and Caleb doing a lot of things that Butler does. And it's almost like I can use Caleb and Jaquez to offset when I have Butler on the bench.
Yes, and you're spot on. And I spoke to someone with the Heat yesterday, and they said the same thing. Yes, there's a thought that Jovic could be very good, but 2 or 3 years out. When Jimmy Butler is 36, when your players are older there, when Lillard will be older if you make that move. Again, Jaquez was drafted as a 4-year UCLA player so he could step in and be ready now, knowing you're going to lose Vincent, unfortunately, knowing you're going to lose Strus. You need someone to come in. And I like your point you just made there. Eric Spoelstra always uses the term Swiss Army knife. Caleb Martin's a Swiss Army knife. I think Jaime Jaquez can be a Swiss Army knife. So in 2 players, you might actually fill 4 roles. Because they can be a 1, a 2, a 3, maybe a 4. Jaquez played the power forward at UCLA. So all of a sudden you're telling me, hey, Ira, they really thinned out their rotation. They lost Vincent. They lost Jovic. They lost Strus. They lost players in free agency. I might say, yeah, but we have guys who can fill 2 or 3 of those roles by themselves. So I agree with that also. But here's the deal where I think Joe Cronin deserves some criticism. If this deal is made at the draft, he picks who he wants at number 18, not the Heat. If he doesn't want to take on Kyle Lowry's $30 million, Max Strus could be part of a sign and trade, which he was. That fills salary instead. Gave Vincent or Victor Oladipo as cap filler. Could have been part of it. So he waited past the draft. He waited past the sign and trade period. His options are not increasing. His options are dwindling. And whose fault is that? That is Joe Cronin's fault. It's hard to pull the trigger. You know, you've switched jobs before. You're debating, is this better? Is that better? But at some point, you got to make your decision. I'm going to go here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to work at that. You also have to be definitive. Joe Cronin, I believe, is so worried about the perception that he's sort of been, analysis by paralysis, that he's almost afraid to do anything. He is going to be known, regardless of the timing, as the Portland Trail Blazers general manager who dealt a franchise icon. That's a very difficult thing to be part of, and I understand that. But it's going to happen at some point. If you're asking me, could Damian Lillard start this season?
He's afraid to rip off the Band-Aid. And unfortunately, this is just, it's a Band-Aid you have to rip and you have to move forward, dude. Unfortunately. That's it.
And you know what, Big O? And he can celebrate what he has. He can say, we have Anthony Simons, we have Shaden Sharp, we have Scoot Henderson, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, and very well might be. He's not in the position where he's saying, I'm trading a franchise icon. We are going to go back in the tank for 10 years now. They're not. Their future is right in front of them. Now, if he wants to totally reset their future, you and I spoke about this, and put in Yusuf Nurkic in the deal, that would be smart on his price. And if he'd have to put in Hero and Lowry and Robinson, okay, I'll do that deal if I'm the Heat. I'll find another shooter. I'll make that work. So what I think Joe Cronin has to do is look at the Heat and saying, how can I best set up my franchise? How can I maximize my gains, knowing the limitations? And how can I, as the general manager of one of the best young cores of talent in the NBA, move forward? That's what he should be selling instead of butt dialing or speed dialing Adam Silver and going, wah. Someone out there is not playing fair in the trade market. Hey, put on your big boy pants and make a deal.
Do what New Orleans and OKC have done, that you build your team and you add assets so you can continue like Danny Ainge did for a while too, where he built up assets, built up the team, and then you're already got a core in Portland. Now you're getting extra assets to build around that core.
Absolutely.
That's the same thing they've been doing in New Orleans and in OKC. They're trying to do that. That's what you should be doing now. You need to turn the page, and you're just unwilling to do it. It's just it's just a weird thing, but it'll happen. It'll happen because you're running out of time, and eventually you don't want the mess in training camp. But like I said, you can't risk injury. If you risk injury, then then the cigar really blows up in your face, and now you're really going to look like a horse's ass.
And you can't do what you did with John Wall with the Rockets and other teams and tell Dame to stay home. You can't disrespect him. Damian Lillard wants to play. He wants to get his numbers. He wants to win. This is not a guy who is so at odds with the franchise. You've seen this in all sports, Big O, where the guy says, I'll sit at home till you make a deal. No, Damian Lillard's 33. His clock is so dwindling. That's why he wants to come to a contender. He doesn't want to just collect his cash and sit out. If he just wanted to collect cash, he'd just roll with it. He'd say, I'll play off the bench. I'll do that. He doesn't want to do that. You have to serve your player right. We saw that here, Big O, with Dwayne Wade, when Mickey Harrison took control, when Pat Riley didn't get involved. It was ugly. They made up. They moved on. He came back from Chicago and Cleveland. They can avoid that now in Portland. They got to let history be their lesson.
Amen. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. What do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check it out?
I posted my Ask Ira earlier today. That's online now. Eric Spoelstra has been known for not necessarily playing rookies, one of my readers asked. And I said, you know what? He didn't play Bam, and he sat him behind Hassan Whiteside. That was a mistake. He made Tyler Hero more of a number 2 to Kendrick Nunn. People forget that. In Tyler's rookie season, Kendrick Nunn, the rookie undrafted, started. Tyler didn't. But I think Jaime Jaquez Jr., if he stays here, is going to be a play right away rookie and end that pattern. For Eric Spoelstra, because of Strus being lost and Vincent being lost. The last time that Eric Spoelstra went all in on rookies probably was Justice Winslow and Josh Richardson in that 2015 draft. I think this will be another year where this kid is so mature, he will get minutes early on, which is why, to sort of circle back to what we're saying, I want to keep him.
Yeah, but that's he would say, that's elementary, my dear Watson.
Exactly.
You get Tyler, you get Bam. These are babies coming out of college with 1 year. You get Dwayne Wade, you get Jaime Jaquez. This is why the college basketball that we grew up with, that you're 4 years with Denny Crum, and you're 4 years with Dean Smith, and you're 4 years with Bobby Cremens, and you're 4 years with Lou Carnesecca, and you're 4 years with Boeheim. You're a different freaking player when you get to the NBA. We used to get players that were more NBA ready because we had great coaches that breeded those players for 4 years, and they were put in all those situations. Tyler and Bam wasn't. Tyler had to mature, and Bam had to mature in the NBA, not in college basketball, where Jaime and Wade already got here as young men already at that point.
Yeah, you know, in Kentucky, Joe B. Hall, when you played for Kentucky, you used to play 4 years, you'd come out NBA ready. Now it's different. This kid is NBA ready now. That's why the Heat drafted him. That's why the Heat said, hey, we're in win now mode. We're going to lose players in free agency. We're good to go. So I wrote about that. I think this will again be the year of the rookie. You're right. The young players, they took the Darrell Wright right out of high school. They took Precious Achiuwa 1 year out of Memphis. And everyone said, oh, we got to play the rookie. No, you've got to play to win. You can play this kid and you can play to win.
Yeah. Some of these young guys are still not there, but when you get the 4-year player, man, he should be way more mature.
And one more thing here, Big O. I'm going to talk to Josh Richardson a little later today. His career Heat number is number 0. We know another player who wears number 0. If you're the Heat, how long can you put this along? Or do you think at some point, because there's such a strong chance of Lillard coming, that Josh Richardson just goes ahead and picks another number? Or do you think you should let him wait as long as he wants for 0? I'm going to ask you this question, Big O. Who wears number 0 for the Heat this season? Damian Lillard or Josh Richardson?
I say it's Josh Richardson. I think he comes here and puts on a new number to have a new start to his whole thing. I think Josh, here's where I'm going with the conspiracy theory. You know how you had the conspiracy theory that you thought they were hiding Jaquez in the summer league, that you didn't think he was that injured, right? Which, by the way, I'm with you on this. I think they already know they're getting Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard already told them what number they're getting. And Josh Richardson's taking the 0 because they probably didn't even tell him. But yeah, go ahead. Don't worry about it. Take it. I bet you Damian Lillard's coming with a different number here.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say maybe not is because he played in Ogden and he's from Oakland, he's sort of like the O as his sort of home calling card, so there could be something to that. But that's going to be interesting. I check the Heat roster on NBA.com almost every morning. All the players have numbers. Josh Richardson doesn't have a number. So keep refreshing that, folks. Maybe we can get a little inside intel into what's going to happen next.
That'll be fun. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Ira, as always, thank you. We'll catch up next week, my friend.
Catch you next week in our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
Thank you, sir. Ira Winderman. There we go. And by the way, Acura Pembroke Pines right now, we got some great deals. The MDX 2023, $579 a month. By the way, they are the number one volume sales dealership in the United States. I mean, for over a decade, I was saying number one in the Southeast United States because they were constantly like number 2 or 3. Well, actually, they were 4. Under Larry Schlossberg, they were like number 5 or 6. Under his leadership, they went up to 4, to 3, to 2, and now 1. Okay? Larry Schlossberg is a badass. And when you go on to that dealership, you're going to be treated first class. There's a reason why people go there, and then they send their friends and their family members. They get treated the right way. The service center by Mike Chan and Jordan Ferber is second to none. There's a reason why they're constantly kicking ass. And for them to become the number one volume sales dealership, that is monstrous. Normally, the number one dealership is in Virginia, right outside D.C. Do you know why they're number one? Because constantly they got people coming in, buying cars, and getting voted out of office. So there's so much turnover that dealership ends up getting all that business. And these guys beat them. Okay? Until, Vivek gets in there and leaves in 2 terms, and then maybe they will have more turnover again. No, but seriously, they are just kicking ass in Pembroke Pines. The TLX 2023, $369 a month. The 2024 Integra, $339. Have you seen the Integra? That thing is beautiful, brother. It is the Summer of Performance sales event going on right now at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75. 3.9% monthly financing. Take advantage. Tell them that Big O sent you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the number one volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. Don't forget, folks, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Anytime while you're listening to the podcast, you got a question, a comment on something I said, an insult, even a compliment. We get those once in a blue moon, a compliment. People are always great to rip you, but it's nice to get a compliment once in a while. And by the way, also very nice to meet a lot of you over the last couple of days over at camp. So really cool. Enjoyed being at camp last couple of days. I'll miss it the next couple of days, but I'll be all right because we'll be in Canton and we'll be having some fun. Pat says, I knew Zach would get into the Hall of Fame when Sam Mills got in last year, his last year of eligibility. It's a good sign that they gave the short guy, his due. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Went to camp. Let's see the story from Peyton Manning proves ZT lives forever. Yes, sir. When I was a kid, the only college ball I could tune in was Notre Dame, and at first I was an Irish fan by default. Then I found the Canes and Schnellenberger. Okay. Muggsy Bogues is still one of my most inspirational athletes of all time. The guy was 5'3", insane. Yeah. I'm surprised Richmond Webb isn't in the Hall of Fame. The quiet skyscraper. It's the lack of success for them overall is what hurts players at times too. You know what I mean? I think Richmond Webb deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. That guy was a great tackle, super quiet, does not ever talk about himself, does not ever promote himself whatsoever. The ultimate professional, Richmond Webb. Seriously, him and Keith Sims, I love those guys. They made my job so easy. You know, and it's funny that sometimes some players don't get this about the media, right? Like Richmond Webb and Keith Sims, like I will be their left tackle for the rest of their lives. Why? Because I know that they were awesome players, right? And we could argue and you could say, okay, Richmond Webb obviously was better than Keith Sims if you want to say that. And maybe you think Keith Sims deserves to be there or not. That's fine. But definitely Richmond Webb is a guy that deserves to be there. You know what I'm saying? But those guys handled everything with class. And that's something that sticks to me for my entire career because they are the gold standard. That's when I think of players on how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to be a professional, that's what I think of. And then when you act that way, most of us, you know, there's a couple of idiots in the media that just want to they're just there to stir shit up only. You know what I'm saying? But most of us that actually cover will be objective. And if you're a good dude, bro, we're going to respect the hell out of that because we understand how difficult it is what you do, how terrible it is at times to think about it. You had a bad day at work and somebody's just hammering you and asking you, well, dude, you were on the line and 4 products were, defective and you didn't figure it out. What happened there, dude? And you ruined that crate that they had to pack and they had to unpack that crate and so that's your fault. Hey, you didn't get to that delivery on time and it cost the company a couple $100 because it's part of the contract that you've got to be there on time. Hey, whatever. Can you imagine somebody, hey, you lost that court case. This person is now going to jail because you did not have the proper, witness prepared and all that. And you could have gotten him off or you could have gotten a lesser sentence. And, nobody ever does that to you. They don't do it to your job. They don't do it in mine. Well, kind of with mine a little bit, but still they don't do it with you guys most often. And that would be brutal. You think about it, some of your worst days at work, and then you would have somebody hammer you about it. You would lose your mind. Those guys handled everything with class. And I'll remember that till the day I die. So I will never, ever, 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 ever say anything bad about those 2 guys. I'll defend those guys every day of the week, not just as players, but as human beings. I say, no. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Those are 2 class individuals. And they're easy to root for, man. Easiest dudes to root for. Zach Thomas was that way too. It was a bad game, maybe not for him, but the team, he handled it. If he had a bad moment, which is rare, handled it with the champ, like a champ. Hey, stand up. And it's hard. It's not the easiest thing. So, yeah, Richmond Webb is as special as they get, man. He really is. I wish he would get into the Hall. I know he deserves to be in the Hall. I watched that. That was a hell of a player, man. Frankie Fresco, AEW 200 episode Dynamite, anything goes match. Jon Moxley versus Trent Beretta versus Penta El Zero Miedo, like scared, miedo, that kind of stuff. Who wins the 3-way battle? Well, I've seen this Moxley character already in the mix here. And then you've got a guy named Trent Beretta. Now, it's not Beretta, right? It's Beretta. Keep your eye on the sparrow. Well, you know that Sammy can only keep one eye on that sparrow. So it was a well-written line. Very accurate. And then Penta El Cero Miedo. Well, now this guy's a scared 0. I can't pick a guy that's a scared 0 there.
Okay, Frankie, that's scared zero. That that doesn't go. That doesn't go. So I'm going to go with Trent Beretta because I think he's going to go in the ghost of Beretta. All right. He killed his wife. I think he'll kill Moxley. And of course, the other guy's already scared. So, he's probably going to run from the ring. I'm going to go with Trent Beretta. Okay. What do you think, Sean? Give me that thumbs down. I knew it. You're going to pick Moxley, aren't you? Right?
I pick Moxley to bleed. That's it.
Oh.
But I believe Moxley will win this match. Trent Beretta is the least likely to win this match.
Oh, see, so now I know for sure he's going to win it. Now that I picked him, and in honor of Beretta the show, there you go. Which, by the way, one of the best TV themes of all time is Beretta. Okay? No doubt about that. It's got to be one of the top TV themes of all time. It's a great song. Excellent song. All right, let's do it. Hour number 2 begins with Matt Verderram next.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Miles an hour, that's a Category 4 hurricane. 3 deaths are reported in Florida after more than 24 were killed in the Caribbean. This
Hialeah Park Casino is turning 10, and we're bringing you an anniversary bash like never before. See a million, win a million. Join us every Saturday in August, where 10 lucky customers will have a chance to take home $1 million. Snap a selfie with $1 million in cash, post it on social media, and get ready to win even more fantastic prizes. Come to Hialeah Park Casino's 10th anniversary celebration and make history with us. When you see a million, win a million.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Ready to rock. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Matt Verderram from Sports Illustrated. Matt, how you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I am feeling good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Can't complain. What's hotter, 1.25 million or billion, that is, in the Mega Millions, or Gracie Hunt?
Well, I'm not touching that. I'm going to say the Mega Billions. The Mega Billions is the answer to that question.
How famous is she in the Chiefs kingdom, as they call it? Because she's constantly throwing up the thirst traps.
You know, it's fine. Like, she's not that. Like, I don't know that many Chiefs fans who sit there and have conversations about Gracie Hunt. Not to say that people are unaware that, of course, that she's the daughter of Clark Hunt. But But I've interviewed her a few times. She works closely with Special Olympics. And so I've had a few conversations. I think one of them was on a podcast when I used to work at Fansided. But yeah, I can't say Chiefs fans are more preoccupied with Chris Jones right now and everything going on with that than they are with anything to do with Gracie Hunt. That's for sure.
Well, usually in the offseason, she kind of takes a center stage because she's like, keeping them busy with all those pictures all over the place. So for you fellas out there, especially you single fellas out there, Gracie Hunt, you can go check it out. But yeah, she's a very active Chiefs fan. She does look cool, by the way. I don't know her from Adam, but she actually looks like she's cool and fun when I see her.
I've only interviewed her a couple of times. We used to follow each other on Twitter. I don't think we do. I don't even know if we do. I have to look. But she's always been cool. Like whenever I've had any interaction with her, I've always had a pleasant conversation. So like I said, she does work very closely with Special Olympics. And look, one of these days, maybe she'll own the team. I mean, she's pretty active. She's there every game. She's there all the time. She's very involved with the Chiefs. So is she next in line at some point? Perhaps. But she's very invested with them for sure.
Yeah, no. And one thing, like I said, every interview I've ever seen from her, because, you always see the pictures of her and she's a good looking girl, but she's actually a cool person, so and obviously way into her Chiefs. That's for damn sure, which if you're in the Hunt blood, it better be like that. Are you shocked that the Raiders are now they want to talk with Josh Jacobs about a contract?
I mean, they can't sign him long term now.
Yeah.
What contract are you going to talk about? I mean, the Saquon-esque, hey, here's an extra $1 million if you rush for 1,800 yards. Like, just so people understand this completely, and I'm sure everyone watching does, but I'll reiterate. No team, including the Raiders, can sign Josh Jacobs for more than this season until after the season ends. That deadline, because he was tagged, has come and gone. So the Raiders, at this point, they cannot sign him to anything more than a one-year deal. The only way I think they could possibly do that is if they rescinded the franchise tag and made him an unrestricted free agent, which I don't think the Raiders are going to do. So this idea now that the Raiders want to come to the table, of course you want to come to the table now. It's August 2nd. 2 weeks ago was the deadline for this. It's like being the kid in school who says, well, I want to do extra credit. And the teacher said, well, it was due 2 weeks back. Like, yeah, but I want to do it now. I mean, well, you can't do it now. So the Raiders can put incentives in there. They can do all that stuff, but they can't sign them now to a 5-year contract. Like that would have to wait till after the season's over.
Right. Yeah. And if you're Jacobs and his agent, I mean, all you're trying to do now is try to get as many guarantees as you can for this season. That's really the only thing you can do. The Saquon one was a joke because, bro, you have to get to 1,800 yards.
Yeah.
You might not get that extra $900,000 actually when it's all said and done.
That, and on top of that, how do you not get it so that you can't be tagged next year? Like if you're Jacobs, the first words out of my mouth would be, you cannot tag me next year. Right. That's it. Like anything we sign, that's part of the deal. If that's not part of the deal, if I'm the Raiders, I'd give them $5 million in incentives. Who cares? If they're not likely to be reached incentives, and that is the term they use, they're not against your cap. And the way they determine that is, have you ever done it before in your career? So if the Raiders say, look, here's a $5 million incentive to hit 2,000 yards rushing this season, it doesn't count against their salary cap. What do they care? Now it would count next year. It would count toward 2024. But yeah, if you're the Raiders, as long as you can tag him again next year, you're good. You're fine. It doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And once he puts you into that position that you can't tag him, then what you'll do is, what's the name of that big ass pitcher that got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers and they were in the middle of a playoff race?
Matthew?
No, he went to the Yankees after, and they wore him out to try to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, it was CC Sabathia.
Sabathia, yes, exactly. Yeah. Sabathia, yes.
Yeah. They were pitching him like every third day for a month. And they got there.
Yeah, dude. That was hilarious. All right, what'd you think of the whole Sean Payton, Aaron Rodgers, and Nathaniel Hackett? Obviously, didn't really go too much into it, but what'd you think of this whole back and forth when it's all said and done?
I can't stand when people in our industry try to rationalize things by coming up with like this whole idea that Sean Payton is using a Jedi mind trick, and he's using this interview to tell Russell Wilson, "Hey Russ, it's not your fault. It was actually Nathaniel Hackett's fault." Sean Payton's just a really honest guy who had a really honest moment. Like if you've ever spent 2 minutes around Sean Payton, and I haven't spent much more than that, I have interviewed him a handful of times. Look, you're gonna get a pretty honest answer out of Sean Payton, and Sean Payton just said what he was thinking. Now, I don't know that he had to do that. He kind of threw Nathaniel Hackett under all 18 wheels for no reason. But let's also just be honest about this. He wasn't wrong. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett did do one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history. I mean, it's not like Sean Payton said something that was horribly incorrect.
No.
The question is, did he have to say it? And he didn't have to say it. I would argue that it was a misstep from this point. You play that team week 5. That is a game at home for Denver. If you're Denver and you want any shot at making the playoffs, you better win most of your home games, okay? That game now just got much tougher because the Jets, who, by the way, the Jets before and after that game play the Chiefs and the Eagles. If there was ever a week that the Broncos might have got the Jets where the Jets were kind of like, yeah, well, we're a little bit worn out, that might have been the game. Not now. Now the Jets are going to be ready to go. And I will say, and I say this tongue-in-cheek, but I also would pay good money to see this. I want to see the Jets win that game for one reason. I want to see him carry Nathaniel Hackett off the field in Denver. I'm here for the whole thing.
That would be awesome.
Give him a ride right across the 50-yard line, and have him shake Sean Payton's hand from the shoulders of Aaron Rodgers and whoever the hell else. But yeah, it's just there was no need. Like, why? There's no benefit of that. And then unfortunately, like a day or two later, Tim Patrick blows his Achilles out. Now you're down one of your best players, right? So it's not been a great week or so for the Broncos.
The funny part was Aaron Rodgers came out and said, "Oh, what's he doing to try to, protect himself and have a softer landing and all that kind of crap?" I actually disagree with Aaron Rodgers. Sean Payton just put way more pressure on himself now because he basically absolved Russell and the players and said it was all coaching. So now that the coaching has changed, then that means everything should be great. So if it isn't great and Russell isn't playing at a high level, well, then guess what? It's on you, Sean, because you said it was all coaching. Because it's funny. 2 years ago, I ripped Flo throughout the year, and I said the real problem with the Dolphins is coaching, not Tua. And guess what happened the following year when McDaniel stepped in? It was Flo, not Tua. Tua kicked ass last year under real coaching. So now Sean, you basically said it was all everybody else around there. So there's no problems in Denver. It's your game, baby. Let's go.
And if you've been following, and I'm sure if you're a Dolphins fan, you haven't been following that closely because really, why would you? But if you've been following Denver this offseason and throughout their camp, it's not been a great camp for Russell Wilson. It's been a lot of picks. Right. It's been a lot of bad throws. Look, does that mean that he's not going to have a good year? No. I mean, I remember one camp, Mahomes, it got to the point that beat writers were actually counting how many picks he threw, and then he went out and threw 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. Now, so, I mean, it is what it is. But it's more concerning when you're coming off a god-awful season and then your next camp is you throwing a bunch of interceptions. Right. My take overall on Denver, for what it's worth, is I just don't think Sean Payton's inheriting that good of a team. And I think he had a lot of teams were better in New Orleans with Drew Brees at his apex. They couldn't even make the playoffs. I mean, and that was usually a division that wasn't particularly strong. I mean, the NFC South for years on end was a dumpster fire. And the Saints couldn't make the playoffs. The other concern I have, and of course the Dolphins play the Broncos this year, one thing to keep in mind, Vance Joseph is the defensive coordinator there. And I think Vance Joseph's a very good coach. But
yeah, we've had him here.
One thing about him, is he's predictable. Like they play a ton of single high safety with him, and they're going to blitz a lot. If you're going to do that in the AFC, you better be locked down with your cornerbacks. Now, Surtain's awesome. I would argue he's the best corner in football. Their other corners are huge question marks. And if you're going to sit there and blitz the Mahomeses and Allens and Tuas and Herberts and all these guys, like, you better be able to play great on the edges. And I just wonder if Denver was so good defensively last year, and Jairo Evero left as a DC to go to Carolina. How are they still as good? I mean, Chubb is in Miami. I don't know what you're getting out of Randy Gregory. Seems like every year people expect a ton, don't get much. I think Denver's going to be like a 6 or 7 win team. And if that happens, Sean Payton's going to have a lot of answering to do, considering how much he's getting paid.
What are you expecting the league to do with Alvin Kamara?
Whenever you ask, like, what do you expect the NFL is going to do with the situation like that, it's hard to answer because there should be a standard, but there's not. Right. Like it could be 2 games, it could be 6 games, it could be, anywhere in between, right? So I think it's more likely than not that there's some discipline involved. I'll go the route of 4 games because I'll just split the difference. I mean, it's just the NFL. There are times that suspensions come out and you are shocked by how much they are, and other times you're saying, the guy got nothing. I mean, so I'll say 4 games, but I do think it's more likely than it isn't that he would get disciplined for something.
Okay. And I think we talked about this, and I say because I think the Kamara thing will come down first, and then I think the Tyreek one will come down after that. And I keep saying that, I'm afraid that it's going to be 1 game only because of the anger that was displayed and then the past that he has. And since they couldn't nail you for the past and now in the present, you showed that anger. The smack on the back of the neck wasn't as bad, but the smack is bad. But then what made it worse was, well, that smack might have been worse if your buddy wasn't holding you back. And then the second go around, you needed 6 left tackles to keep you off the guys. So because of the anger issues, I'm wondering, do they make him take some counseling? And does he get nailed for 1 game? I don't think it's more than that. If anything, it'll be a fine. But worst case scenario, I think he gets a game. Your thoughts on that following the Alvin Kamara thing?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, I think if it's anything, it's a game. I don't think it's more. He's never been suspended in the NFL. Obviously, there was some real ugly stuff during college where he transferred out of Oklahoma State and everything else, went to West Alabama. Before the 2019 season, there were allegations. There was an investigation out in Kansas based off of an allegation that potentially he had harmed his young son. Nothing ever came of that, either legally or by the league. The league never disciplined Tyreek Hill for that. He was never in court or anything like that, stemming from that alleged incident. So if he is suspended, it would be the first time in the NFL that he is disciplined in any way, shape, or form. I mean, he's never been fined other than for, I think, on the field, he threw out the peace sign or something. Maybe he's suspended or he's fined for that, but nothing in terms of violence or illegalities. Yeah, I think, look, in the end, if he gets suspended, I agree with you. It's probably a game. I will say again, the NFL is weird at this stuff. The NFL, I mean, there was to use an example last year that I remember shocked a lot of people around the NFL because I remember reaching out to a lot of them. Willie Gay of the Chiefs got suspended for 4 games, and it stemmed from he had allegedly thrown a vacuum, broken a vacuum, and while arguing with, I believe it was his girlfriend at the time, he created some damage, I think, to a door frame, if memory serves. Did not strike her, didn't attempt to strike her, but there was allegations he had destroyed some property and whatnot. And that happened during the playoffs, the 2021 playoffs. And so suspension comes down early in the season the following year. He got suspended for 4 games. I think, and I remember talking to people around the Chiefs, around the league, people expected that to be like maybe a game. and it became 4. So you never know, but I would agree with you that 1 seems right, or a hefty fine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening there. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out?
Training camp tour on Friday. Heading out, going to Chicago, and then making my rounds. I got 5 in 5 days. So I've got the Bears, the Colts, the Bengals, the Browns, and then a joint practice up in Allen Park, Michigan, with the Lions and the Giants. Looking forward to that.
Why don't you join me in Canton on Saturday? Come on, man. Join us over there.
Yeah.
We're going to go over to Canton and hang out a little bit.
I would love to go to Canton and hang out. I've never been to Canton. I'd love to go to Canton.
Really?
I know.
Are you serious?
I know. It's like one of the biggest regrets in life.
Like you're a hell of a lot closer than I am to that shit.
I know. I've never been.
Not been there.
I've never been there. I almost went when Jerry Kramer got inducted for the Packers, because it's a long story, but I'd written a long for him, and you know, I talked to his daughter, I talked to him, and then he got in. I almost went to see that, but yeah, 5 camps in 5 days, and I'll have the Vikings, Packers, and Chiefs a little later on in the month. But I'm looking forward to that. I put out a piece today about every team's most likely Hall of Famer, which is kind of a fun piece. And then I've got for the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill was the answer. So I thought Jalen Ramsey was my other, you know, I went back and forth. And I said, well, you know, Tyreek's been an all-pro like 4 times. He's made the Pro Bowl every year of his career. He's got a Super Bowl ring, as does Ramsey. But yeah, so it was a fun piece. And then over the next couple of weeks, maybe the next month, I'll have a couple features coming up. Did some research. Is this conference, the AFC, is it the best conference of all time for quarterbacks? I went back and did a lot of research. And I got to tell you, you could really make the case. And so I kind of lay it all out there and let you decide. But it was a fun piece to write. I'm going to interview some people for it. It'll be good. It'll probably be out end of August, very beginning of September.
So it has to compete with the 80s AFC.
80s AFC?
Marino, Moon, Kelly.
Yep. Elway.
Elway.
Yeah.
Those
Lycos are, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And those AFC days, we had some really good quarterbacks, dude.
I will tell you, on the other side of it, this is a little nugget, a little teaser. So I went and looked. Right now in the NFC, the only projected starting quarterback who has ever made an all-pro team, first or second team, is Jalen Hurts, who made it last year as a second-team all-pro. He's the only NFC quarterback who's a projected starter who has an all-pro on his resume. There have been only 3 times since 1982 where a conference has only had one all-pro quarterback as a starter. The NFC is a wasteland at quarterback. And the AFC, I mean, Rodgers is a 4-time MVP. Jackson's an MVP. Mahomes is a 2-time MVP. You know, Russell Wilson, for all the struggles he's had, is probably going to the Hall of Fame one day. Right? I mean, then, of course, you have the Burrows and the Allens and the Tuas and the Lawrences and all these young guys who are making their push. The NFC has Jalen Hurts, who's a second-team All-Pro, and nobody else. That's where you are. It's a fascinating split, and I kind of went into that.
By the way, Boomer and Dan Fouts also in the 80s.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Boomer and Ken Anderson. Bengals had 2 MVPs.
Yeah. So there, you know, you start to look at the 80s, the AFC had some pretty damn good quarterbacks, and that would be the only era that I think would, you know, you would have to compare it to.
And what's insane, they couldn't win a Super Bowl. They couldn't win anything. They lost every year. The only AFC quarterback that won a Super Bowl in the 80s, Jim Plunkett, did it twice. He's it. So let's go.
And those teams were really good that Plunkett was a part. Those Raiders were absolutely loaded. But yeah, you're right, because they ended up running into NFC teams that were at their pinnacle, you know, at that moment, whether it was Washington, whether it was Dallas,
and the Niners.
You know, the Niners, you know, teams, all that 80s, 90s, they like kind of felt, because the 90s kind of the same thing with the 80s.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same thing. It was all that whole era, the NFC dominated, dude, you know, throughout with the Niners and the Redskins and the Cowboys, They all won at least 3 championships between the 80s and the 90s.
One of the first games I remember watching, not the first, but one of them, was Super Bowl 29 in Miami when the Niners played the Chargers.
Right.
And I've read Al Michaels' book because he called the game, and I'll leave it at this. But he was told by the NFL, look, don't bring up the gambling line, because the Niners were favored by 18 points over the Chargers. It was like, can you imagine that? I mean, that is just obscene.
Yeah.
In the first or second play of the game, the Niners threw like a 50-yard touchdown pass. And Al Michaels just goes, well, might not have a hard time covering the spread tonight. Paul Tagliabue was not pleased with Al Michaels after that commentary. 2 plays in. But
the Giants, late 80s, they won with those two teams.
86 and 90, yep.
Yeah, those teams were monstrous, dude. And the year Chicago won, it was the flukish, all those fumbles by the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game, because it should have been the rematch, because that's really where the 2 best teams. But Dolphins choked in the AFC Championship game, gave New England the opportunity, and New England got routed by Chicago because they couldn't. Like Miami had the offense to match that Bears defense, because the Bears secondary wasn't good enough to keep up with the passing game. And obviously the Marks.
They're the only ones who beat them. They let them up on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, those two. That was their kryptonite, was the passing game of the Dolphins, obviously. But yeah, it just seemed like it was bad luck for the AFC in the 80s and into the 90s that the NFC just dominated, dude. Even though they had the quarterbacks, although the quarterbacks that were playing for the NFC were very good, by the way.
Yeah. I'm writing the other feature I'm working on right now, which I think will also be out probably early September, is a piece about, in fact, right after I get off this interview, I have a few interviews to do, but the 1990s Bills, what is their legacy? 30 years now since that last Super Bowl appearance. But it's funny, everybody talks about them. Nobody talks about the Broncos, who preceded them, who got absolutely plowed in 3 out of 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Nobody. Now, part of that's because, to be fair, the Elway ended up winning later on. He won 2, but
those teams were awesome. Those were the complete teams. That's why he got his ass kicked, because you're playing with Sammy Winder. You're not playing with a defense.
Right.
In
Ricky
fact,
McNeil.
The defense that they had was before Elway with Craig Morton, the Orange Crush.
Yep.
And then the Orange Crush offense, with Craig Morton, just wasn't good enough. And that was their problem. It was like the reverse. But then that defense got old and it was over. And then by the time Elway took over, they didn't have a great defense. They didn't have a dominant running game. And then the 90s came around and they figured it out and got the dominant defense and the running game. And then the rest is history. You know?
Yeah. But it's interesting. It's interesting to go back. I am doing that piece on the 90s Bills, which I'm really looking forward to, because I find them to be maybe the most fascinating team in the Super Bowl era. I mean,
one of the greatest teams ever. I don't care.
That's the question now. I'm asking a lot of people who played for them and who played against them. Are they one of the greatest teams ever, or are they the biggest chokers of all time? What is your you get people on both sides.
Do I blame them, or do I blame the kicker for the one? They should have won at least one. That's where I have a hard time calling the rest of the team out, when all the kicker had to do was put it through the uprights and they win it. You know what I mean? But having said, I watched them. I watched a lot of football in my life. I have not seen a lot of teams better than those Bills teams. I get it that they lost, but dude, that's one of the best teams I've ever seen in my life.
For the record, I'm with you. I'm not going to inject my opinion into it. I'm going to kind of let everybody speak for themselves. But I agree. To me, it's more impressive to go to 4 straight Super Bowls than it is to win one.
Yeah.
To me, are they better than some one-off team? That won the 02.
A lot of them.
I'm just picking one out of a hat here, but the 02 Bucks, who's more impressive? I mean, the Bills. The Bills are fantastic.
It's not even close. It's not even close, because they were both great defenses.
Right. But one was an all-time.
Bill's offense was legendary, bro. It's one of the greatest offenses I've ever seen. As a Dolphins fan, it was terrorizing to watch what they could do through the air and on the ground. It was so freaking dominant, bro. It's anybody that really knows football, we're all baffled that they didn't win a couple of Super Bowls with those teams, because they were so good, dude. So freaking good, man. Yeah.
Solid.
So they deserve all the credit in the world. It just sucks that they didn't get the one championship to kind of justify it all. You know what I mean? It's a shame. All right, follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderram. Matt, as always, have a great week, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Matt Verderram, always getting it done. Walton Rheaume, by the way, they know how to get it done. Great law office in Hollywood. Folks, we're in the middle of hurricane season. Okay, I hope we don't get hit by any storms. But even if we don't get hit by a storm, we still could have these brutal showers that come in because of the heat. And as our atmosphere gets hotter and hotter, then that means a lot more moisture is going to be trapped in the atmosphere. And then all of a sudden, we have those explosive showers that drop inches of rain within hours. And all of a sudden, we've got flooding, we've got water damage. That's why you've got to keep Walton Rheaume's number right on your phone, 954-966-4646. You don't need it right now. That's cool. I get it. But save it on the cell phone because you're going to need it. If you have a car accident, you're dealing with bankruptcy, criminal defense, condo damage, somebody else has some pipe break, and they have a water problem and it flows right into your condo and it destroys the walls or anything in your kitchen. Call Walton Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, slip and fall, something happens. Call Jeff and Dan. They know how to get it done. 954-966-4646. All right, let's talk a little Dolphins football. Joe Shad is next.
It's time to talk Aqua and Orange. Miami Dolphins fans. Here's a man with incredibly high standards. In fact, he isn't impressed with Tyreek Hill's dominance, Jalen Waddle's speed, or even Teron Armstead's swag. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Let's talk football. Here's Joe Shad.
Right. Remember, if you are moving, Essential Moving Experts, call my guy Sean Williams. Huge Dolphins fan, obviously big supporter of the platform, moving anywhere in the country. Call our friends at Essential Moving Experts, 305-602-8369. Mr. Shad, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good, Big O. How are you?
Good, man. I'm pumped, ready for the Inter-Miami match tonight. Do you have the buzz? Are you watching Messi?
I will watch. I did get the MLS package on Apple Plus. They make it real easy to subscribe when you have your Apple TV Plus on. You can just click on it. And right. I thought about going tonight, but the tickets haven't dipped like the previous ones. Now maybe they will closer to kickoff. Right now they're around 150. The last game you could get tickets shortly before kickoff in the 110 range.
Yeah, that's still quite a bit of money. But you know, what are you going to do? It is an opportunity to see one of the best players in the history of the game. All right, so I'm looking forward to the match tonight. I can't wait for 8 o'clock.
Is Orlando good? I don't know. I have no idea.
They're all right. They're all right, but it's personal. It's
Do you have the odds? Let's look up the odds. Have your producer look up the odds if he can. I want to see who's favored.
Oh, Inter's favored, bro.
Inter is favored. Okay.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind that Inter is favored. I'll look it up for you also while we're doing this. But first of all, talk to me a little bit on the offensive line. What have you seen so far?
You know, it's really tough to grade the Dolphins offensive linemen considering how unbelievably talented the front seven is for the Dolphins defense. I mean, this is a good test. I will say that I have not seen the left guard or the right tackle play terribly. And so if we're not noticing them playing terribly, that is a good sign. That is a positive sign. But I think we're going to get a better feel when we watch those guys match up in the joint practices next week against the Falcons. Those guys really want to look good in the joint practices. You know, the whole thing about seeing somebody in a different colored uniform. And so left guard and right tackle, all eyes will be on those guys against the Falcons next week.
Yeah, I'm with. Although I yesterday I thought in the one-on-ones, ooh, doggy, Austin Jackson got smoked by Jalen Phillips and by Agba. I gotta say I've been more impressed with Kendall Lamb than I have been with Austin Jackson. I know they're practicing Kendall on the left side, and I know Isaiah Wynn is kind of like the swing guy. I kind of would like to keep Isaiah Wynn maybe as a swing guy because he can also play guard, and put Kendall Lamb at right tackle. You know, I know it's early right now, but
I think he's more of a left tackle, and I like the idea that he might very well, and I agree with you, prove to be a solid insurance policy for Teron Armstead, who, of course, unfortunately missed 4 games last year, and the Dolphins went 1-3 in those 4 games. Kendall Lamb tried to fill in for him at the end of the season, but then he quickly went down, if you remember. I like that the Dolphins backups have some experience. He and Abuehi and Feeney. I like it. I think it's capable.
By the way,
anyway,
go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, and Isaiah Wynn. Capable veteran experience. Yeah, backup.
Okay. So, but you're not where I'm at right now on, that you're
giving up on Jackson? No, absolutely not.
Okay. I'm not ready completely to give up on him, but I am not comfortable with what I see. I saw more progress up until this point last year with him. And so I hopefully things get a little better here. But I have to say, Kendall's actually done, a decent job too. Anything else has stood out to you on the offensive line, one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, this isn't preseason games. This isn't joint practices. It's kind of, it's kind of hard. But I will tell you one thing I noticed, which is that this new offensive line coach, is it Butch Barry? I haven't met him yet. I think I'm going to meet him. We'll get to meet him soon. But he is, I don't know how to say this. He's demanding in a good way. And, it's a change of pace from what the Dolphins coaches have been in the last few years. So I think it has a chance to resonate with these guys. This is a take no prisoners, demanding, loud coach. I just wanted to let you know that I have noticed it a lot. He's hard to miss out there.
So he's not Mr. Positive and constantly giving positive reinforcement like Mike McDaniel. Although that's kind of a misconception. Mike McDaniel does have a little rip job in him every once in a while too. By the way, he just does it a little differently.
But it's a nice balance with McDaniel, who is generally, come to my office and we'll talk things out kind of guy. This Butch Barry is a rip you a new one kind of guy. It seems pretty clear.
By the way, Inter Miami is minus 147 on the money line. Orlando,
so you have to bet. Oh, good.
Yeah, you got to bet $147
to win 100. Wow.
And Orlando is plus 350.
Wow. So is the new guy Jordan Albee? Is that how you say it?
Jordi Alba. Yes.
Jordi Alba. Is he playing tonight?
Yes, I'm sure he's playing tonight.
Wow. He's a defender, right?
Yeah, he's a defender, and he'll play. So he's a midfielder defender, I think. Yes, he defensive midfielder is what you call it. Yes, Alba will. I think he'll play some minutes. I don't know if he'll play a lot. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he's already practiced with the team a little bit, so he's got something.
Yeah.
So I would imagine he'll play 20, 30 minutes today.
Big O, it's really interesting to think about how the MLS is obviously doing everything in their power to load up the Miami franchise with stars to try to not only, to save the league, really. And I don't save is a little strong, but to throw accelerant on the entire league.
Hold on, Joe. You're not following the whole league. There are other teams making moves too now. So it's
they're not getting these guys.
Well, they're not getting. Nobody's getting Messi. There's only one Messi. You know what I'm saying? But I think that what you're watching now is the next stage of the MLS. where if you want to grow up and be the big boy league, you got to start adding big boys. And so they're starting to add big boys now. And, big boys are looking at the MLS saying, okay, well, looks like there's some money there now. Okay,
yeah,
now
but they have a salary cap, right? And they just kind of like bend the rules and twist the rules, and that's fine. I got no problem with it. They're like, oh yeah, an international allocation to Miami for cash. Okay.
Not a second. The DPs don't count against the cap,
right?
So your 3 DPs, okay, the designated
players.
But
didn't they acquire one for cash? I mean, the league is like, give Miami all the international allocations they need.
Because every team has 6 allocations, and they're U22s. So those are also ones that don't go against the cap, and you can add people, but they have to be under 22 in order to add them, but they're young stars. And so, yeah, you're probably going to have to pay a little extra money for those kind of guys. Like they added the Paraguay kid and the kid from Argentina that are U22s. And so everybody has those slots. Now, Miami wasn't using their slots until, see, the thing is, again, to kind of fill you in. A couple of years ago, they went and started building a team without a head coach. The head coach gets here and he goes, yeah, I don't like that guy. I don't like this guy. I don't like that guy. And so then it was like an ass backwards type of thing, and it put them in a difficult position, right? So this time they knew they wanted Tata, but they had to wait to get him. So what they did with Phil Neville was they left the cupboard bare, and they did not add the extra DPs. They did not add the U22s. They waited till they had the coach. And then the coach got there and said, okay, I want this guy and that guy and that guy. I like that guy.
No, I get it.
And so then
I find it very interesting the way different franchises are built and rebuilt. Right. And I wanted to draw a parallel between how the MLS Miami team has rebuilt, how the Dolphins chose to rebuild, which was a tank. They don't want to say it, but it was a tank. They tanked a couple of seasons to try to position themselves for a Super Bowl. And now in Major League Baseball, without a salary cap, you see the Marlins, kudos to them and general manager Kim Ng adding, while the Mets, with a billionaire owner, do a complete sell-off for prospects to reload their system in one day, knowing that they could spend hundreds of millions in free agency again. So I guess I'd ask you this as part of our conversation here, Big O. Which system do you prefer? Do you like baseball having no salary cap? What's best for the fans? The baseball system with no salary cap, the NFL system with the salary cap, but they hold guns to guys' heads where they say if you don't take a pay cut, you're gone because the majority of your salary is not guaranteed. That's certainly better than the NBA system where you have
the
guys who were stars 5 years ago making $20 million sitting at the end of the bench and not playing.
Baseball and basketball are haves and have-nots. Pretty simple. Unless the have-nots drafted Duncan Robinson, Ginobili, and Parker, and they got lucky that they drafted championship caliber players all there, but the have-nots will never buy the Duncans, Ginobilis, and Parkers because the Portlands can't buy them, North Carolina can't buy them, Orlando can't buy them, Detroit can't buy them, Lakers can, the Knicks can, the Heat can. You know what I'm saying? And in baseball, it's the same thing. If you're the Cubs and you're the Yankees and you're the Mets and you're
Dodgers.
And the Dodgers and you're the Giants, you can buy. But if you're the Marlins and you're Tampa and you're Milwaukee, you can't buy. You can only buy a little bit. And so for me, there's no system better than the NFL. It may not
There's a
be
lot of parity. Every year, there's a certain number of teams that make the playoffs.
Right. It may not be the best for the players, but all 32 teams have a chance to win a Super Bowl. That is something that cannot be said in MLB, and it cannot be said in NBA. They all don't have a chance to win. They need so much luck. In the NFL, you just got to know how to be competent and run your team the right way, and you'll be able to win a championship because any team can win a championship in the NFL because everybody has the same resources.
In baseball, acquiring a star pitcher can change the odds in Vegas and make a team a World Series favorite. In the NBA, acquiring a superstar in free agency can completely change the odds. In the NFL, it's different. I'm going to do some research on how much the Dolphins AFC East, AFC Super Bowl odds changed in the wake of Jalen Ramsey's injury. Probably not that much. The over-under in wins might not have shifted at all.
No. Go check Aaron Rodgers.
As good as Ramsey is.
Compare Ramsey and Rodgers.
Yeah, the quarterback.
Right. Compare the Jets odds before Rodgers and after, and compare Ramsey's with the Dolphins before and after, and you'll see that there's a huge difference, obviously.
If the Dolphins had acquired Aaron Rodgers this offseason, do you think they would have been, of course, you have Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. Would they have been in the top 4 in the AFC for Super Bowl, to go to the Super Bowl for the favorites, the odds?
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
So the perception of Rodgers is that he's much better than Tua, which is interesting because Tua might have the better season.
Bro, that's your perception. We fucking.
I just said Vegas. No, I just said Vegas.
I get that, but it's also your perception or Vegas or whatever. To me, Tua was just as good as Rodgers last year. I mean, they're at this point in their careers, I see one guy ascending, I see the other guy descending. So to me, I get that Tua doesn't have the respect around the league. I totally understand that. But I have a completely different belief in that kid. I think he's a player, bro. I really do. And he just didn't have the coaching, the support around him. Now he has it, and he was an MVP caliber player almost last year.
So Big O, you know a lot about betting, and you talk to a lot of these betting experts, people who are involved in setting odds. If the Dolphins would have much better odds with Aaron Rodgers than they do with Tua, it's because the odds makers believe that the betting public's consensus is that Rodgers is better, right? It all has to do with the betting public's where they think the betting public's going to put their money, right?
Health. That's all it is. Tua, at this point, if you think Tua can't play, you don't know anything about football. You don't understand the quarterback position. But at this point, I
didn't say that. I'm talking about the odds makers.
I'm telling you, in general, to anybody out there, there is no doubt at this point that Tua can play. If you have a doubt, you're just an idiot. Sorry, you're a fucking idiot. At this point, the only doubt between Rodgers and Tua is that Tua can't stay healthy. And that's the only reason you're going to bet Rodgers over Tua, because Rodgers has played complete seasons pretty much throughout his entire career. That guy doesn't really miss a lot of games. In fact, I don't even know, has he missed 10 games in his entire career?
Well, Jalen Ramsey didn't miss any games, and look what that did for the Dolphins.
But that's a freak thing, and I'm not, you can't kill freak things. Let me go over the history, and the history is Tua's gotten injured. Unfortunately, that's the history. He has an injury history, but it can't be right now. The only reason you're betting Rodgers over him is because you count on Rodgers to play on all 17 games, and you don't count on Tua. But it's not because you think there's this amazing difference between the two as players.
Only because of Rodgers' age. I mean, obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, one of the great quarterbacks in NFL history. I'll bet you, I have the feeling that he's got something left. I don't think this guy's washed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so I wanted to tell you that Tua had a press conference yesterday, and he did really well. He's much better in press conferences. And I think that we talked about this when I did that one-on-one interview with him. I think he's comfortable in his own skin. I think he's comfortable being in year 2 of the offense. I think he's comfortable with what he showed he could do when on the field. And I wanted to tell you, he was looking us in the eye. He was using our names. He was giving us good answers. And at the end of the news conference, when it was done, he said, "Hey, does anyone else have any other questions?" It was great. And so he's maturing on and off the field. And look, I mean, the guy's a husband and a father now, but it's not just a narrative. It's clearly the reality of the situation. And so I think that's just going to make it better for all of us, but it's certainly better for us in the media that he's more comfortable with the interviews and everything.
Your children are going to need your support throughout their entire lives. That's part of having, a success is having a foundation. You and I, we work in a brutal freaking business. You've had to move and change. Your wife has to be a rock throughout all of this, just like my wife has had to be a rock, throughout all of this. And it helps us have to deal with the ups and downs of our business when the rock is at home. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going home to a foundation, people that believe in you and they love you. And so then that allows you to go back out there and fight that battle that you have to fight to pay our bills every single day to survive in life. It's the same thing with Tua, dude. It's the same thing with anyone in any position in any walk of life. You got to have a foundation of support. If you don't, it's really impossible to succeed. And what he lacked for his first couple of years, there was no way you were going to succeed under that. And once you get under Mike McDaniel, you have somebody that believes in you, somebody that reinforces their beliefs. And then you have the front office and everybody else building around you. So it's easy to see him now come out of his shell and grow and be more confident. That pass he threw over David Long yesterday, that's the kind of shit that he can do.
He's lethal in the middle of the field. Absolutely lethal.
You got to give him the foundation like any player.
He's lethal. But the next step is outside the hashes. You agree, right? Because he's lethal in here. Outside the hashes.
You mean like the first throw he made on the first day outside the hash?
He's good when he's moving and throwing to a guy who's running towards the sideline for an out pattern. No doubt.
He's just good, period, bro. You don't do the things
he's still developing. He's still working on the things that he's not great at.
Oh, he's working on getting to greatness. That's the thing. He's already good. You don't do the shit he did last year if you're not good. You don't come off the bench in Alabama and win a national championship if you're not good, bro. He does shit all the time that proves he's good. He's getting to the point of greatness. That's where he's got to go. That's his trajectory. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. That's his trajectory. He's already proven he can be good. It's about him being great because that's the only way.
We know Tua has two top weapons. I wanted to let you know that, in my opinion, Eric Izukama looks better. Okay. Cedric Wilson looks better. Now, who knows what's going to happen with his contract and that sort of thing. Devon Achane is going to be a valuable weapon. Okay, so I think he's got plenty of weapons to work with. And then defensively, it's my opinion that Cam Smith will end up being the starter ahead of Eli Apple. Now, I know that we haven't seen the Apple contract numbers yet, and I know he has a lot of starts, including the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. But I think Cam Smith is the better player. I think he's a better player. And I also want to say right here on the Miami Dolphins Essential Moving Experts Exchange, I want to say that Noah Igbenogany looks better. Okay. And so we want to see what happens in the joint practices and we want to see what happens in the preseason games. But I think it's possible that this zone-heavy scheme is a better fit for Noah Igbenogany. And there are folks around the team who think that the zone-heavy scheme fits Eli Apple's strengths too. He gets burned one-on-one in the press.
Yes,
right?
he's inconsistent in one-on-one coverage. I do not trust Eli Apple in one-on-one coverage. And I think they signed Eli Apple not because they need him right now. I think they signed Eli Apple. It's kind of a kind of like what Tua does a lot, anticipatory throws. I think this was an anticipatory move just in case they suffer another injury, then they're in the hurt. Because remember, once Trill gets back and Nick gets back, they're going to have a lot of depth, at that position. So I think
Kohu can play outside. Yeah, Kohu can play outside.
I think the Eli Apple thing is more of an insurance policy, but I agree, and I've said it on the show throughout the week that I think Eli in a zone is actually more valuable to you than he is if he has to play on man on man. Man on man, I would be terrified. Now, on the flip side of that, what happened to Chosen?
What happened? I mean, obviously he got off to a strong start. Are you saying that? What am I missing on Chosen?
He's Albert Wilson things. So, really good in shorts. Now the pads came on. We haven't seen much of him. And there's a thing, and this might be just me looking too much into it. They had their conversations with him. I don't think I've met anybody that says Robbie Anderson can't play, Robbie Chosen, whatever the hell. I've never met anybody that says he can't play. We all know he can play. He runs like the wind, all of that. But he's had other issues. And I wonder if they're testing him now.
Yeah, it's not easy to
I wonder if
have those 1,000-yard receiving seasons like he has in his past, and then go out there and line up with some of the dudes he's lining up with in practice who, are very, very long shots to make the team. I agree with you. It's going to be very important.
Testing him
it's going to be important. Yeah, it's going to be important for him.
To see if he's staying in, even though he's not getting the reps, like Salvon Ahmed. Like the other day when he was there, I asked him, dude, how do you stay ready? Because you running backs are rhythm players, and you never get a rhythm. Wilson will get a rhythm. Most will get you never get a rhythm, and yet every time you hand it off to Salvon Ahmed, Savon, I'm sorry, he pops 4.5, 5 yards a carry.
I like Ahmed. He's ahead of Gaskin.
Oh yeah, way ahead of him. But I love that, and I'm wondering if they're testing Robbie in that way, like they are withholding a little reps to see if he gets frustrated, if he loses concentration, if he doesn't stay disciplined and wait for his turn. I wonder, because that's really how you test Robbie. You test him off the field, you test him in the classroom, you test him that way, because that's where he's lost it. That's where he's had his issues. He doesn't have his issues on the field. Everybody knows he can play. So I just wonder, did he fall a little out of favor, or are they testing him a little bit right now and testing?
I still think he's on the roster. I still think he has a chance to be a factor. I'm really looking forward to how he does in the joint practices and how he does in Saturday's scrimmage at Hard Rock Stadium.
I'll be in Canton. What do you got going on at the Palm Beach Post so folks can check you and Hal Habit out?
Posted a story about Teron Armstead and his goal to play all 17 games this season. Let's hope that happens. And also posted an 8-minute video with our Hal Habib. Shot it in 4K, and it took like an hour to upload. I didn't realize how big those files can be, so I have to maybe not use the 4K.
So do we tell the women not to watch, because they're all going to go after Hal and they're all going to fall in love with Hal now that you?
Hal is available. He is on the open market. It's my understanding. We don't know everything about Hal, but I believe that to be true.
So if you ladies out there, GQ Hal is available, and so in 4K, so you get all the beauty of Hal Habit right there.
Check out the 4K video. Let me know what you guys think. See if it's worth an hour of uploading. Good to see you, Bigga.
Ladies, leave your number on the chat board there for Hal. Joe, see you later. We'll catch you next week, baby. Be good.
All right, see you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. That is Joe Shad. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe. Okay, it's reversed. He's Joe Shad, but on Twitter he's Shad Joe. So somebody had a Joe Shad. Is that why he couldn't get a Shad? He had to go Shad Joe. I got to ask him that. Look, does somebody actually own Joe Shad? Is that what happened? So, that's like wrong, bro. There should only be one Joe Shad. Yeah, there is a Joe Shad, and it's just like all it is, and it's a plain one. It's just what's that called? When you have no profile, whatever the hell it's called, an egg. It's not really an egg, but it's kind of like an egg. The guy follows one person, and he follows Joe Shad. Oh, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. I got to ask Joe this. It says, go to twitter.com to follow ESPN's Joe Shad. Did he lose? Did he have this and he lost like the password or something to it? This is too funny.
Or was it owned when he was with the 4-letter network and they didn't give it to him?
Or he lost the password to it.
Possibly.
But then again, he was able to go to Twitter, Shad Joe, to follow ESPN's Joe Shad. I don't get this. I don't get. Oh, I gotta ask him about this.
Maybe somebody thought they were going to be able to get some money for it. Joe would pay him money for the.
Yeah. Yeah, but Joe, before he built up his followers, had to have. Didn't he go first to go find Joe Shad, and then it was taken, obviously, right? That is hilarious, dude. And he joined in 2009. Joe Shad joined in 2009, January of 2009, August of 2009. So Shad Joe started in. Is that right? He started in. He joined January of 2009. And then the Joe Shad one started in August of 2009. So 8 months later, I don't get this. This is the weirdest thing. Gotta ask him about this. That is so weird. Oh, that is very cool. SMD just sent me a DM, and that he got this in the mail. How about that for your iPhone with the old logo? Is that freaking badass or what? If you guys ever find one that is for iPhones, but it has a cover on the front and the back, because that's the only way I buy for my phones. I only buy something that has a front cover too to protect the glass. If I don't get it both, I don't get the half one that only covers the back. Has to have both. But if you happen to see one that covers both and it has the old Dolphins logo, I don't want anything to do with the new Dolphins logo. I freaking can't stand the new Dolphins logo. Okay? I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Serious passion. All right. We got a super chat here. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Big O, ready for a Clásico? That's right, baby. I'm ready. I got my inner colors. I'm ready to go, man. I can't wait for 8 o'clock. Oh, man. But again, I'm a soccer fan. So I've always been a local soccer fan. Always been a huge supporter of all local soccer. So I'm a little biased when it comes to that. And remember, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. And remember, we love our Bitcoin donation, and Bitcoin again. Nice. It's over 29,000, but it got under 29. It was at a little 28, a little bit there. I did a little buying myself. Some good ones right now. Some good ones. Going sideways. Take advantage, bro. Take advantage, because once it goes parabolic, you're not going to be able to get it done. So, what can I tell you? I don't think Noah is that bad that you can consider him an empty roster spot. They're so deep, Alex, right now, I don't think he has any shot at making the team. Let's just be brutally honest. Okay? He has zero chance of making the team. He hasn't done anything yet to make this team. So, whatever. And Jackson, I have not been impressed yet. It's super early, but so far, not impressed. And I wasn't saying that last year. Gave him a little love last year. I thought he was actually doing a pretty decent job. Mega Millions, by the way, up to 1.2 billion. All right, let's give you a little entertainment stuff here on the show. Where are we at? Here we go. First off, let's start off with the birthdays today on August 2nd. Not necessarily a big list overall. We start off with. Man, there's a lot of people that I have no idea who they are. TikTok, reality stars. There's like a bunch of them that they track. Actor Sam Worthington is 47 years old today. Actor Jabari Banks is 25. It's not a strong list today. Wes Craven, the director, passed away in 2015, but he was born on this date in 1939. Kevin Smith, the director, born on this date. He is 53 years old. And like this one, Sean, a wrestler by the name of Famous B is 38 today. You know him? Look at that. If Sean doesn't know this wrestler, that's why it's like, well, Skylar Diggins, I know, the lovely Skylar Diggins. She is 33 years old today. But there's like a bunch of people that I have no idea. TikTok star FaZe Reyes is 23. Reality star Hannah Stark is 22.
He was on Lucha Underground. It was a show, a wrestling show, but I didn't follow it.
Okay, see, but it's like, right. So am I going to mention every wrestler? And I know, okay, Austin Theory is 26 today. You know Austin Theory? Okay.
Yes, he's the United States champion.
Okay.
WWE.
Well, that's the other wrestler sharing a birthday today. And again, didn't know either guy, but see, you didn't know one of the two. So I don't feel that bad. How about that? All right, today in music history, let's go to it. First of all, in 1962, on this date, Robert Allen Zimmerman legally became, Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. Anyway, in 2003, Kiss and Aerosmith kicked off their co-headlining tour. In 1998, on this date, the Beastie Boys started a 3-week run at the #1 spot on the album charts with Hello Nasty, the group's third record at the top of the charts. In 2010, Arcade Fire released their hit album, The Suburbs, which debuted at #1 and went on to win a Grammy for Album of the Year. In 75, on this date, the Eagles went to #1 on the charts with their song, One of These Nights. One of these crazy old nights. All right, in 86, Peter Cetera began a 2-week run at the top of the charts with his song, The Glory of Love. Yes, sir. For the Karate Kid 2 movie. In 2006, on this date, Killer singer Brandon Flowers married Tana Mumblowski in a private ceremony in Hawaii. And that is what happened today in Musica Historia. All right, all right, all right. Mega Millions up to $1.25 billion after no tickets were sold on Tuesday night. For the estimated $1.1 billion, the winning numbers were 8, 24, 30, 45, 61, and the mega ball of 12. Okay, there you go. Whoever, by the way, wins the Mega Millions jackpot has the option to collect in an annuity or a one-time payment. The cash option for the new jackpot would be roughly $625.3 million. That option for Tuesday night's jackpot was estimated at $550 million. All totals are taken before taxes are out. The jackpot has been growing since it last won in April, and 30 drawings have been held since, with no tickets matching the 5 white balls and golden mega ball. Good luck to you all out there. I hope somebody wins it. Okay? Somebody. That's part of our whole deal. When sports and business collide, we love doing something called the KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. Well. You know, soccer has been dealing with defections, and golf has been dealing with defections. From where? from the Saudi leagues. So let me ask you something. Could it happen to the NBA? Well, in the past year, Saudi Arabia has made offers to players to join their local teams. Cristiano Ronaldo, $220 million. Messi, $1.6 billion. Benzema, $643 million for 2 years. Kylian Mbappe, $332 million just for a transfer bid. So Saudi Arabia is making some generous offers. Giannis Antetokounmpo says, you can take me. LeBron James, Draymond Green. Do they have basketball leagues there, right, too? I don't think my contract's dried up yet. So Saudi Arabia does have a league, the Saudi Basketball League, and they could start reaching out to NBA players if they wanted to. The 12-member organization has recently been backed by the country's Public Investment Fund, which is reportedly valued at $640 billion. The PIF is the same team behind the recent investments made on athletes events, including football with Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Al Nassr and golf Saudi-backed Live Tour has merged with the PGA and events such as Jake Paul taking on Tommy Fury. So what happens with the Saudis? Do they start reaching out to NBA players and make their league another level? Kind of interesting. That would be kind of crazy if it happens. Whew, that would really put the league already is suffering from your regular season sucks. It's not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? And so now you start losing players. That would not be good, dude. By the way, KSDT CPA's offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. You can use that QR code to reach out to them. You don't even have to be in South Florida. You can do a lot of it by phone. They management advisory services. So if you have a business or personal taxes, they can handle it. They've got healthcare advisory, property management, wealth management, valuation. They do it all, folks. That's why we tell you all the time, if you're doing property management, it comes with facilities and operating budgets, rent collections, supervisors of property vendors, tenant relations and retention. I mean, they go as deep as it gets, 24/7 emergency services. They can help you. You want to find out how much your business is worth if you're trying to sell it. KSDT can do that. Personally, you got to do your taxes. You got to do a will. You want to do a living will, whatever it is. Talk to the people at KSDT CPAs. They can help you out and give you the edge that you need for your business and the peace of mind you need for your personal taxes or your decisions that you've got to make towards the end of your life. Please reach out to our friends at KSDT CPAs, 305-670-3370. You can also put that phone and put it on. You can put it on the picture part and aim the camera there at that QR code that you see right there. And that'll give you the link and you can get hooked up right away and reach out to the great people at KSDT CPAs. Support the great people that support us. And this is a top 200 tax firm and accounting firm in the United States, according to Forbes. So you are dealing with just A1 material, folks. You're dealing with a great company that is handling the business and the personal issues for a lot of people throughout South Florida, and they're better off because they called the great people at KSDT CPAs. 305-670-3370.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. Don't forget, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. You can even make a Bitcoin donation. Also, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Want to remind you, Friday, if you're going to Canton, to go with us and celebrate Zach Thomas getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We will be there covering it. Sean and myself are headed out there tomorrow. But I also want to remind you, Friday, we're all meeting at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Cannes at 2 o'clock. We're all meeting at Don Shula's bust. We're all going to gather around that bust. We're going to sing the Dolphin Fight song, put that thing on social media, and it is going to go viral, baby. So let's have some fun. Dolphin fans, if you're going out there, let's meet. 2 p.m. Friday, Hall of Fame. And if you're going out there, DM me, and we'll hook up somewhere, some bar somewhere while we're out there covering all kinds of events. All right? Appreciate it. Let's see. Heard a podcast from this morning, The Athletic this morning, and they still think Tua stinks regardless of it. Yeah, those people are idiots. Anybody that thinks that Tua can't play, you don't know what the hell you're talking about at this point. So no new Dolphins Hall of Fame banner for you, Big O? What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean, this one behind me? Yeah, if they have a new one with Zach, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Hell's to the yeah, I'm going to buy it. For sure. If you need one, Pat, if you need something from the Hall of Fame, tell me while I'm there so I can buy it for you. Martin says, see you in Cannes, my friend. Very excited. 4,500 miles, 2 flights, but we'll be there. Martin, you better be at the Hall of Fame 2 o'clock. Okay? Friday, 2 p.m., Hall of Fame. You better be there, buddy. All right? We need to hang out a little bit there, Martin. Love you, brother. Raging. So if the Finns win a championship this year with the current logo, you won't buy any Super Bowl gear because, they'll have it with the old logo. Don't worry about it. It'll work. My life isn't over, bro. It'll adjust. Don't worry about it. They'll make champion with the real logo on it. That's all. Do you know what's going on with Ruiz? Will it affect UM's ability? Apparently, Ruiz it only takes up 20% of the NIL money that UM gives out. So their main, whatever that thing is called, that main thing that they use for dealing NIL, they handle 80% of it. So it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I got to tell you something, and I know because I got it from everywhere. I've never seen anybody more disliked or never believed in. Like, I don't know John Ruiz personally. I've gotten to know him a little bit now that I've met him a couple times and all that. So I don't know him from Adam personally, but my God, was I bombarded from everywhere, like from people that, that either they think they know him or know people that know him or whatever. And brother, the stories are endless and none of them are positive. But I'll say this about John Ruiz because it's the only thing I know about John Ruiz. I don't know about his personal business. I don't know if his business is really in trouble or what. I have no idea. I do know that Life Wallet is a great idea, that we should all have that because it's actually really cool that you have a digital wallet that has all of your medical information and you can transfer it right away. Like if you go to a hospital, got to go to a clinic, an emergency, and they're always asking, hey, do you have any medical conditions, this, that, whatever. And if you're out of, maybe you're unconscious or whatever, and they don't know exactly your medical history, the Life Wallet will tell everything about your medical history because it's all there. So it's actually a really good invention. But for whatever reason, if they are struggling or whatever, here's what I'm going to say about John Ruiz. And it's the only thing I know about John Ruiz. So I can only say good things about him. However he made his money, whatever he did with it, whatever. All I know is I saw him give it to a lot of young people and help make their lives better. So to me, he shared his wealth with a lot of people. That's a lot more than most of us can say. I don't know the man personally. I don't know if he screwed some other people over or you don't have a good relationship with him or this, that. I know I heard everything left and right. None of it good. Every time somebody wanted to tell me something about John Ruiz, it wasn't good. That's all I can tell you. And this was from day one that he got into the public eye. From day one. I don't know how many of you told me, Don't get them as a sponsor for your platform. All that kind of stuff. It's really amazing. I've never seen people come out of the woodwork and want somebody to fail that badly. It's the weirdest dynamic out there. But again, I don't know from Adam. I don't have any information, so I have to plead total ignorance here on this. So I can't tell you any dirt about the guy because I have no dirt on the guy. Okay? But I will say this. I will commend him for sharing his wealth with a whole bunch of young people that, there are a point in their lives where they probably needed it, So kudos to him in that sense. And I hope because of all that good karma, I hope everything works out for him. Again, I can't say a bad thing about the guy. I can't complain about the guy. He's been nice to me. His people have been nice to me. And I don't gain any money from them. I don't have any relationship with them. But when I've dealt with them, they've been nice to me. So all I can say is how people have treated me. And I can't say a bad thing about them. But holy shit, you people out there have unloaded on this guy. It really is amazing how many people want that guy to fail. Austin Theory is only 26. He's a mega star at such a young age. Wow. There you go. Let's see. Zero chance, in my opinion, of basketball players leaving the NBA for the Saudis. Well, I mean, Giannis just said he would do it. Green and LeBron, they all threw it out there. And LeBron's at the back end, so he's a complete whore. He'll go over there. You never know, dude. Bob Rubin from the Herald, Juice, I think he's no longer with us. He retired, and then I think he's no longer with us. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to look it up. It's a good columnist. I remember Bob. Let's see. Does money really talk in this thing? Usually does. How many players going to want to uproot their lives to move to the other side of the world? For money, they'll do it, dude. They'll do it. I totally disagree with you. They'll do it. Big O, do you think Cater starts on the outside? No, I think Cam will be the outside guy and Cater will be the inside guy. If Cam continues to progress the way he's progressing, like quickly, I think you put Cam outside and Cater inside and you're super solid. Yeah, I think that's what happens. Nico says, greetings from Athens, Greece. Wow, nice. I hope you're all right out there too, because there's a lot of fires. So I hope the smoke isn't affecting your stay out there. It's the second time, right? Then I think Greece had to do, was it last year or the year before that they had a whole bunch? I think it was last year also. And they were last year, I remember it was getting close to some of the, the ancient ruins, and they were going crazy trying to stop it and make sure it didn't get to the ruins. It's crazy because the Greek islands. So it's crazy how they're moving people from an island that's on fire to another island because they've got to get them out. It's a shame. So I hope it's not too bad out there, Nico, for you in Greece. Big O, have you heard the Hard Rock Sportsbook was okayed by the... No, I did not. I love it. Can't wait to get back to live betting. Oh my God, I was making a killing on live betting. So, no, I did not hear about that. That's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Let me see what else we have here. What else do we have? Miami. You have to try Miami Slice amazing pizza. Miami Slice. Where's Miami Slice? In Miami, right? But where? What is it's called Miami Slice. Okay. Big O, I know you're a dog lover. Just got a golden retriever puppy and was wondering if you have any advice in general. God, you have the dog with the biggest heart in the world that I've ever seen. Golden retrievers, I had Pegasus, sadly, for only 8 years because he got neck cancer and we had to put him down, which was just, I never recovered from that shit. That shit bothers me every freaking day. Brother, all I can tell you with a golden retriever, love. Just give it love because it's going to give you like a crap ton of love and attention. I miss Pegasus so much. We have a Carolina dog, and I've never even heard of that breed until I adopted it. And then I found out that he was a Carolina dog. And Carolina dogs are golden retrievers that will also be guard dogs for you, which I was surprised. Like, they have the same golden retriever temperament. They're super lovable with their owners, but the Carolina dog is very protective of its home and its people. You know what I mean? Which I didn't think so. I thought he was very golden retrieverish, because golden retrievers don't attack. They're not bad dogs. They're love all the time. So when you get a golden retriever, it's not to protect your home. You know what I mean? It's to have a loving dog in the home. But the Carolina dog is kind of the same thing. Super loving dog, super gentle, all of that. But strangers, they don't want to deal with strangers. No. So the only thing I would tell you about a golden retriever is handle with care, give it a ton of love, give it attention. Don't ever have a dog if you can't give it attention. If you can't give it, its attention every day, by the way, then don't have a dog. But that's the only thing I would say. Please take care of the dog, feed it, and give it lots of love, because golden retrievers are going to spoil you, dude. It's the most loving dog I have ever seen in my life. So really, really awesome. You're going to enjoy it. I would have 10 golden retrievers if I could. You know what I would suggest? Now you got a golden retriever. You should get a one of those little Eufys or Rheaumes or whatever, those things that run around the house, and they pick up hair and stuff. Golden retrievers will release a lot of hair. So if I'm you, I would buy one of those, because you're going to be sweeping every day. So might as well just hit one of those things every day and let it do the sweeping for you and pick up the hair every day. Because you don't want it breathing in the air for the dogs, for yourself, all of that. So yeah, they are going to release some hair. So if I'm you, I would get one of those automatic sweepers, the Vrooms or the Eufys or whatever, the different, what's it called? Companies that make them. Get one of those. And any of you out there, by the way, that have dogs, you should have a couple of those in your house running around. We have one in the first floor and we have one in the second floor. And we, every day, turn it on. Boom. Got to pick up the hair, man. Because if not, and we have 4 dogs. So it's a lot of hair being released. That's the other thing that Carolina dogs do. Boy, Carolina dogs shed a lot of hair. Holy crap. Let's see. Miami Slice. Yes, it's called that. It's by the Heat Arena. Okay, I'll check it out. What was your impression of Igbo this training camp? Nothing special right now. You gotta understand that the bar is so low nowadays that people will say any little thing that he does, but you can forget about Igbenogany. He's not gonna make this team. Maybe they'll hide him on the practice squad. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll just place him obviously on the practice squad. There's no hiding Noah Igbenogany. Big O, owning a pet is a privilege, not a right. Far too many people do not deserve a loving. I agree. I agree. That's why I say if you're going to have the dog, please love the hell out of your dogs. Okay? What's your favorite movie theater? I don't think I've ever had a favorite movie. Plit Gables, back in the day when I used to get in for free all the time. My buddy worked at Plit Gables, right there on Coral Way, off of 32nd Avenue. And I would go see all the movies for free. That was my favorite movie theater of all time, right there. Nothing will ever beat Plit Gables on Coral Way off of 32nd Avenue. Nothing. It won't come close. That will be my favorite movie theater of all time. Every time there was a new release, I could just walk in there and watch the show and never pay a damn dime. I think I had that role for like maybe about, I think he worked there for about 2.5 years, something like that. So for like 2.5 years, I didn't pay for a movie at Plit Gables. Okay. That's my favorite theater of all time. You think Cam makes the CB? Yes, I do. Right now, it looks like he's on his way. He's making a nice transition. Charlie the Golden is a complete handful so far. Super sweet and mischievous all at once. I'm sorry to hear about your Pegasus. Yeah. Enjoy Charlie, man. Just give Charlie a ton of love. And remember, I want you all to remember this, that when your dog is looking at you, that's the dog telling you that they care about you, that they want your attention, that they, so when they are staring at you and you don't look at them or what, you're kind of breaking their hearts. I just want you to know that. Okay? Because when they're staring at you, they're actually communicating to you. You know what I mean? So make sure you give them back the look, you give them the attention. Dogs are, one thing I've learned in my entire life with dogs is they have a lot of people qualities to them. They're very emotional. They understand your emotional state. So if you're mad or you're happy or you're sad or you're crying or whatever, they're well aware of your feelings. You know what I mean? And so that's the other thing that I would say about any dog owner out there. Please realize that these animals have feelings and character, and it's pretty amazing when you pay attention to your dog how they communicate to you. So that's all I can say. Just give them love, man. Give them love, and they're going to give you way more love back. Between my lab, shepherd, and husky constantly sweeping hair, you should get one of those things that roam the floors. It helps you not have to sweep every day. It picks up the hair and it does a great job of that. So it's really, really, really cool. I have two. Man's best friend is real. Amen. 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 And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do a little packing. I'm going to do a little relaxing. And I'm going to also hang out with my dogs. We thank Matt Verderram. We thank Joe Shad. We thank Ira Winderman. We thank, of course, the man, the myth, the legend that is Sean Stanley, who masters this platform every single day. We will see you all tomorrow. 8 a.m. We'll start the show tomorrow. Short show tomorrow, 8 a.m. before we travel. Same time, same place, same bat channel.